All good, man. Welcome back to the Content Creator Seat here, guys. I know a lot of y'all been waiting on me to do another collaboration with our guests. No other than Bump Jonas, the man I work with pretty much the most on YouTube/IG. We are finally back, and today it's a little different from what we usually do. But this time I will be doing an interview. This is what the Content Creator Seat is, pretty much an interview segment, question and answer. So, Bump, let me ask you this, bro. I see you got the wizard up there too. I like that. um, where did you get this ambition or grant from? Was this like a family thing?
Oh man, that's a great question. So
Okay.
first of all, thank you for having me, man. I really
Oh, you're
appreciate the
welcome.
opportunity.
Hmm.
Um, I would say the ambition really is a family thing, man. I grew up
Okay.
with it. My
Hmm.
my dad was a hustler. He was always just like always out there doing something. My first job that I ever really had was passing out flyers to clubs and concerts. That was with
Okay.
him. Um,
Okay.
and then from there it was like, hey man, I just realized early that the things that I wanted, they couldn't give me. So it was like, all right, go do something. So I started mowing lawns. My mom was always like, hey, if you take care of school, you could do what you want. And for me, it was about sports and making money because I wanted my things, and
Okay.
she was always a hustler too in a different sense. Like she used her mouthpiece
Okay.
a lot. So, my mom never had a bad job. She never had a hard job. She always did sales and slick talked her way into things. So, what I mean, it was really something that was just part of my family culture. What I saw growing up was already
Okay.
there for me.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, when you come from a background where your family is kind of already in it, it's kind of like it becomes like second nature to you because now you're into it and you're like, oh man, I can do these things that dad is doing, mom's doing, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's great. I would say I get my work ethic from both my mom and dad. My dad was a little bit more of a workaholic than my mother was, but dad, yeah, I get it from dad. Some of my mom's way of doing things, yeah, of course. But yeah, I always wondered that because I said, man, this man does a little bit of everything. I'm like, he's got the clothing line, he's doing skits, he's doing music. I'm like, what is
I
he
mean,
not doing?
you know, I realize so like
Hmm.
sometimes you have those moments when you're younger and you don't realize like how poignant it was until you get older, right? And so I have some cringy moments where like, some people I was hanging out with some folks and they're like, yo, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Hmm.
And I swear I had like 15 different answers, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So even from an early age, I was just doing the most, doing as much as I could.
Okay.
I always I I I went to a private school, probably
Hmm.
about middle school through high school, so I got introduced to the arts very early in terms of,
Okay.
like, just do shit, man. I got introduced to different forms of not just intelligence, but applying that intelligence.
Okay.
So having grown up, like, for real, I come from 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas, right? I was born in
Okay.
the Bay, I was raised in 3rd Ward, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna say I lived in poverty, but I knew poverty early, but I also
Right.
knew hustle. And then I got introduced to just a different side or different perspective. And so for me, it was like, oh shit, you could mix the business with the street and still be 100% yourself, unique and successful. And so that's just
Okay.
always been my thing. And more than anything, it's always been like I just I like doing too many different things to be stuck into one. So just keep doing it, man. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah, I know, man. I'm kind of similar. I'm like, people like you like. I'm like, yeah, but I like other things too. I don't want to just be one dimensional, or just how can I put it, stagnant in a way. Like just having one interest kind of sounds a little boring. Like, nah, you gotta have a little bit of multitude. And maybe because for me, I'm from the Midwest, so I guess for me, seeing all these different cool things and people that are doing different things, it showed you that people could be unique if you choose to be that way. So yeah, it's definitely that's dope, man. Your upbringing, so like you said, being in Houston, then in California, and just seeing how the different cultures are, and just maybe incorporating certain things from it. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like right off the bat, without knowing it or not, I have a Bay Area mentality when it comes to the hustle. Again, like
Okay.
growing up listening to E40s,
Okay.
Master P, JT the Bigger Figure, shit,
Okay.
Mac Dre, like, and those things end up connecting me to KC. But that's the music that I grew up with. Those are the different kind of cultures that I already
Okay.
sort of moved towards, and so it was always about hustle. It was always about being expressive. Um,
Okay.
Coming up with hip hop,
Yeah.
the number one thing to me that is important to being in that culture is being unique, being yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always about just, hey man, throw that spaghetti at the wall and see what happens, man. Just be dope about it while you do it, right? Don't be
Right.
corny.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So Saint Whisper said, "How y'all? I'm doing good, man. How are you, Saint Whisper? If you're still in the chat, appreciate it."
Appreciate you tapping in.
Yeah. So my next question for you is when did the IG thing start? Because I know we met on IG, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, coming across each other on social media. Was that the start of it when you were doing the lives with other content creators and
Yeah.
rappers and producers and stuff? Or was that more me in the middle phase when I came across you, or was that before then?
So honestly, when you found me, I
Hmm.
was, I guess you could say, a transformation phase. Excuse me,
Okay.
hold
Okay.
on.
Okay.
So when it came to the IG, it really started off. This is a funny story. So the IG itself, Bump Jonas, actually started off as Bump and
Hmm.
Mita because it
Okay.
was really just a family page for my wife and I. And
Wow.
I had no
Okay.
clue. I don't do social media very much. I don't even understand Twitter. I don't understand Facebook right now. I don't even know how to connect the motherfuckers. I'm completely slow. But
Okay.
IG was just a really fun place to take pictures. And
Okay.
so then, that's going, no big deal. And I got a shout out to my homeboy Damo, Jiggy, Civ, WAP Gang.
Okay.
I was doing the IG, I was having fun. I was like, oh, this is a place where I could talk my shit. So for me, it became a political thing of I can express my thoughts of the world. And so slowly I took the IG over from the wife and it became Bump Jonas, right? So
Okay.
then I start running with WAP Gang,
Hmm.
and this is, a hip hop clique, a collective. They're making music. Um, I'm doing remixes and having fun. I don't even think I'm doing anything other than just posting shit, right?
Right.
And as I'm running with them, it just becomes like, yo, I could start doing different things with this. I can be creative. I can promote. Like, really, what happened is you caught me when I was developing sort of my promotional angle of promoting them, right? So I'm creating
Okay.
content in my head. I didn't even
Okay.
know it was content. I had no clue that I was even anything like that. I was just like, how do we it was hustle to me. Like, how do I get these people to know about these cats, right?
Right.
And at the same time, I'm not an artist, right? So
Right.
how do I get my creative thoughts out? And I got, the wife has an edible company. I have a apparel company.
Right.
And then it's like, yo, I could start doing this podcast thing too. So it just becomes a fun way to promote and talk shit and like make people laugh, but still educate at the same time. And that's really always my thing, whether it comes to Bump Jonas or anything I do. It's about edutainment. You know what I'm saying? It's
Okay.
about, and that still comes back to hip hop for me in a sense that
Okay.
if you're not educating people or trying to empower their hustle, then why are you doing it? You know what I
Okay.
mean? So that's you met me at like so again that middle ground transformational stage, and then it's just like, oh
Okay.
wait, but and I'll shut up after this, but um it was actually again shout out to WAP Gang, my man Damo, all of them, but coming into connection with you was like, oh, it helped me have a self realization, like, wait, shit, I am a content creator. I hold up, man, I do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
what I mean? Salute to you for like really like making me have that self-awareness hit me like, "Oh, nah, bro, you in here with these motherfuckers. You could do it."
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope, man. So originally your IG was something that you and the wife was supposed to be like a family content. Am I right? Yeah. And
It
I, and
was
I
really hers. It was hers. I just looked at pictures when I was bored in a doctor's office and shit,
so you're
man.
just scrolling down like, okay, I see this picture here and there. Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, it's always interesting to learn like the story behind what certain things took place. What's going on, Princess Sasha? What's good, Blair? Just stopping by, finally able to catch a live. Yeah, I appreciate it. I understand. Life be lifing, right? So I get that from your content, but when I see like the reels on IG and even just like the skits and stuff, you do have like the education, but then you have the comedy. It's interesting, bro. And the way you do it, you execute it, bro. You're like a chameleon in a way. It's like, hey, look, give you the comedy. I'm gonna give you the educational side of things. That's dope, bro. Like, so my next question I want to ask you about. So, what came first? Was it the clothing, the IG? What was it?
Oh,
What was
wow.
the first thing, man?
Wow. So I guess in a way the clothing was first.
Okay.
It all for all intents and purposes, it all happened around the same time. So like
Oh.
we had the IG
Mm-hmm.
and the wife already I was like so when my wife and I first met, my first thing, not first met, but one of the first I've just always been into the hustles. It was like, yo, you cook, I want a business. Let's put it
Right.
together, right?
Yeah.
And so I was already on some weird creative shit, like let's start a blog, let's do this.
Right.
So she had the IG and we were already kind of in discussion with the food thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that just kind of was going from there. And then as we were talking about the food, I had this idea like, yo, what if I use clothing as a way to talk about things in the world, but use food as the vehicle.
Okay.
And now, so that's really where Everyone Moves Together was born.
Okay.
Originally, it was called Eat Me Teas. So it was EMTs,
Yeah.
but Eat Me Teas is what it stood for because we were trying to tie the food aspect back in. And so like, like we have this pig called Boss Hog
Okay.
and he's got food and it's gluttony. And so that sends a message through the aspect of food. But we was like, yo, Eat Me Teas isn't working, it's not rocking. Um so, you know what I'm saying? We were smoking a blunt and drinking some coffee one day, and I was like, "Babe, we can't use this name no more." And she's like, "Yeah, let's think of something else." And we was going back and forth, and Everyone Moves Together. And it was like, "Yo, that's it." And so that happened probably about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Um, EMTs as a whole has been started a good 6 or 7 years.
Woo.
Around the same time as um, um, Thrax Pastry as around the same time as the IG starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like when I start doing things, it just like everything just like it all falls out, and I just start. All right, what can I work on now? And I
Yeah.
start building into it.
Okay.
I'm a messy developer, man. But I keep going.
but but
Um,
are most artists most messy when you think about it?
yeah, it's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? It's how that works.
Right.
The funny thing about the clothing line though is EMTs itself started 7 years ago. But for me, the reality is that it started 10, 15 years ago. Cause back when I like, let's say my teens and my 20s,
Okay.
I was an active MC. I was really out there. That was my career. That was my goal.
Okay.
And I was never again coming up with a family that was into the hustle, coming up in a culture that was about the hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't one that was gonna sign to no label. So I booked my own shows. I managed myself in my own group. And one of the things I was already doing was setting out merch.
Okay.
So like the whole apparel clothing label thing was really a natural organic growth for me. Like it was going to happen because I was going to find a way to market and to create revenue stream. I'm going to pimp this motherfucker all the way I'm not leaving no part untouched. So
Yeah. That's interesting for sure, man. Wow, man. I can't believe that it had a different name for the clothing line. That's dope that y'all changed it. Sometimes you know what rebranding does work. And I think sometimes people get discouraged with rebranding. Like, what if so and so don't like it? And it's like, well, either it's gonna work or it's not. And but like you said, sometimes the name change really does do a 360 for your brand. So yeah.
It really did. For me, so number
Hmm.
one, I do get that thought sometimes. Like, what if folks don't like it? And then I remind myself, fuck them. I have to like it. Um,
Yeah,
and that's what kept coming back in my head was like, I like this name, but there's something there that's not hitting for me. So we had to have that conversation.
yeah.
But the other part is it's really just back to what I was saying. Like, man, fuck them. You got to create for yourself. You got to, if you don't, like, I always tell myself and I tell my family and people around me, man, um, it, if you don't love yourself, how's the world gonna know to love you? So fuck it, man. I gotta create for me and then go from there.
Okay. So my next question is something that's very interesting. So I know with IG you were doing the live streams and everything. How did you go about finding people early on, Bump, when it came to you doing these IG lives, man?
Oh man. um, Low key, bro. I just got lucky.
Okay.
Um, so it was really a bit of the timing of me having been on Bump Jonas for, let's say, 2 years, just
Right.
talking shit, posting, getting
Hmm.
connected with people, and then again working with WAP Gang put me
Right.
in the it put me in the realm of being off the porch, talking to people, networking, whether it be on IG or in the physical at shows. And
Right.
so it was real easy in that sense to be like, okay, you know what? I see the angle. Just go out there and ask them like, hey man, do you wanna give me like 30 minutes to do this? I'll smoke a blunt, you chill, ask you some questions. And it took me about probably about 4 or 5 months to, like, really get people to start reacting and responding, uh,
Okay.
but the very first one, man, shout out to Marlo Forever, man, he fucking he was I was like, "Hey, bro, I'm doing this thing. You wanna hop on?" He's like, "Yeah." So he hopped on from his car. He was still on paperwork and shit from, legal issues, and so
Okay.
it was a risk for him, and I appreciated him jumping out and doing that. Another artist was Quail Dog. He and these are all local KC artists, so
Yeah.
it took like 1, 2, maybe 3 artists to just take that risk with me and be like, "Alright, Imma do it," and then other folks saw it and they're like, "Alright, you know what? I like his questions, I like his approach. Let's see what it do."
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it, man. Yeah, wow, your first guest. Yeah, that's dope, man. At least that person was willing to take the risk despite, their issues that they had going on. It's like, man, yeah, that is crazy, man. So my next question is going to be a little bit anime based for the people out there that we know that Bump likes anime too as well. I noticed that you like Naruto. So what are some of your favorite Hokages on Naruto? You have like a top five, top six.
Oh, man, okay, so right off the bat, 4th Hokage,
Okay.
Minato is the one.
Okay.
Um,
Good choice.
I really fuck with the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen.
Okay.
Um, I don't I'm not gonna say I'm super familiar with any of the ones prior to that. There's a wood-based Hokage that
Yeah.
I really, really kind of fuck with the discipline that he was throwing out there.
Yeah.
Um, but really, bro, I'm gonna be honest, it's corny and it's cliche, but my favorite Hokage, and I haven't even got there yet because I haven't finished Naruto's yet, but
Okay.
um, my favorite Hokage is definitely gonna be Naruto, like himself.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
it's the thing I love about anime, and it's something that for me, anime is a great transition from being a child or a teenager watching cartoons, you
Right.
know, and then going into this adult animation type of thing.
Yeah.
And the shows that I watched as a child were Captain Brave Star and He-Man and
Okay.
like GI Joe,
Yeah.
just shit that. at the end of the day, either A, gave me a hero complex, or B, made me think that I could be better than where I'm at. And so,
Okay.
that kind of shit really resonates with me. And that's mainly the thing about anime, is that as crazy as it gets, and my wife always asks me, like, yo, you watch some wild shit. Well, how is this okay to watch? I'm like, no, you're right. You're right. But
Yeah.
listen to what they saying and how they do it.
Yeah.
There's always this sense of like just unwilling determination, like nothing stopping me. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna make it to where I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna learn that shit in the time. So I love the lesson. I love the angle. And like, as corny as it is, Naruto's is like the best. Um, I don't know, confidence builder, the best like
Yeah.
significance of like, bro, you could do this shit. So I love that.
Right. So Princess Sasha anime helped me learn Japanese and about Japanese culture, and I love anime. Yeah, yeah, it does help you learn Japanese for people that want to learn Japanese, and definitely Japanese culture for sure. I know for me with anime, I don't know if you've seen. I can recommend some for you, bro, if you want me
Oh,
to.
come on.
If you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, check that out.
Oh yeah, I've seen that
Um,
one and the live version. I tried the live version. I'm still trying to
Yeah,
get
don't
the
get the anime one's way better than the live version. If you're into superhero stuff like Marvel and DC, you'll love My Hero Academia. It's pretty much a
okay.
similar base type of. It's just the anime version of it, but with main character that's determined everything. Another anime I could recommend you. Have you seen what is it? What is the name of that one? There's so many good anime out. There's an anime that what's it? I say Black Clover. You like Black Clover. Black Clover is really good too.
I
Yeah,
never heard of that one. I'm gonna definitely look
yeah.
that up.
If they come back, I hope they come back this year. They've been talking about that they're gonna return with a new season, and stuff like that. Yeah, Sailor Moon, Gundam, yeah, DBZ, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that's really good
I've
too.
been
Attack on
watching
Titan.
Undead
Yeah.
Unluck. Um, I've been
Okay.
I've been in the middle of Pluto, which
Okay.
is
Yeah, Pluto's good. Yeah, I
yeah,
watched that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
Pluto.
one's it was like, yo, hold on. Like we've gotten to me, this one's so different because well, one, the artificial intelligence and all that angle, but it's the format of we're watching a Netflix or a series. We're getting to the point where like anime is taking over not just movies, but some of the dramatic series now. So like,
Yeah.
yo, this is dope. So I
Yeah,
love it.
they really have good storytelling. I think that's kind of why I fell in love with anime was the storytelling, visuals, character development, character
Mhm.
art, story arcs. I mean, where can you go wrong? Oh yeah, she said Black Butler too.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
I like
Tenchi
that.
Universe. Yeah, yeah, I've seen Tenchi Universe before too. So my next question, this is gonna be anime based too. Do you read the manga? Or are you more just an anime person in general?
Okay, so I've read some manga. I'm not gonna say I read manga, but then I don't want to say I don't because I have read it. Um,
Okay.
it's been 6, 7 years since I've had any like in my possession. My thing is right now,
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of time to read. Or
Okay.
let me just say this, I don't make a lot of time to read.
Okay.
So um I'm big on getting information and gaining knowledge. So when I do read, I try to read something that's going just kind of data dump me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
reading, I don't know, declassified documents, Noam Chomsky books, all kinds of different stuff.
Okay.
And I think that's why I dive into the anime as much
Hmm.
and the MCU universe so that I
Right.
can get that that separation that I need. But I do need to read a little bit more fun stuff, right?
Yeah. 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 And then even if you don't have the physical, bro, they got the Shohai app and the Viz Media app. Hey.
Okay. Well, and see, I struggle with that because
Yeah, you gotta scroll through.
it's kind of like so. In some ways, I'm a traditionalist. Like if I'm a read, I want to read paperback, and
Okay.
on the other end, sometimes I'm kind of like Will Smith from iRobot. I don't want to go too far into the technology, so I'm
Okay.
on my phone in so many different ways. doing this and that. And sometimes it's hard to explain to the family, like, no, I'm not scrolling, I'm working. You know what I mean? Um, and so when it comes to that, I'm like, nah, if I'm gonna read, I wanna get that traditional experience that I enjoy about reading.
Okay, that ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I still read the
What
book every now and then. I'm like, okay,
what's
I can
some
go
what's some
scroll.
good mangas though? What's some good mangas that I should try and read?
Have you read they got the Promised Neverland? You got Jitsu Kaisen. Jitsu Kaisen is also an anime and it's a manga as well. You got what is the other one that I'm thinking about? One Piece, but it's far ahead. You got Death Note, that's really good too.
Ooh, okay.
Platinum End. I don't think you can find a manga for it, but it is online. I do know that. I'm not sure if they have a manga for it in stores or not, unless they decided to say, "Hey, we're gonna release it and everything." So, with Naruto, I'm gonna ask another question with this. Then we're gonna go to something else. What are some of your favorite characters besides Naruto that you like out of Naruto? Like your
Oh man. Um, so my man Jiggy's gonna give me shit because he's a big Itachi and Sasuke fan,
okay,
and I like them both. But actually, my favorite character besides Naruto's is either Gaara or
okay, interesting
Kakashi.
choice.
It's either Gaara or Kakashi. Um,
Woo. Okay,
Kakashi. So kind of a tangent, but Kakashi Sensei is the reason I got into Naruto's.
okay,
I was like Inuyasha, DBZ,
right,
all those kind of Samurai Jack,
yeah,
and then I did a I was on Instagram or whatever, and I did like some kind of one of those filters, and it said,
yeah,
"Oh, you're most like Kakashi Sensei." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, let's check out Naruto's." Right. So
right,
watching him, I love his ability to stay calm,
right,
his ability to read, like not ability to read, but well, he reads the room, he reads the situation, he has a plan, he's a badass in the most simplest way. He
yeah,
will take on anybody and they're all scared of him, and I love that shit. Um,
okay,
but Gara,
yeah,
Gara, man, first of all, Gara's a motherfucker. Um, I think Gara is so powerful and dope that they had to strip him of his powers early, because otherwise he would have been a Betty Sue and would have taken everybody out. Um, but I love how this guy who comes from a world that no one loves him and sees him only as a weapon is
yeah,
able to turn that into not only personal power but also personal growth. And he's like, nah, man, I'm not finna be full of hate. I'm finna be full of love. I'm gonna be like Naruto's. And um
right,
and it really not only does it become something substantial, it ends up becoming the Kazekage, right?
yeah, yeah, Kazukage, right,
So
yeah,
it's like for me, that's you couldn't have a better story,
yeah,
as a black man in America, the Horatio Alger story is important to me because it's a fictional story, but it's empowering to tell you that you could start anywhere and take yourself everywhere.
yeah,
Um, and and as much as we try to think like, oh, I did it by myself, no, everything happens within your community and the environment that you create. And Gara is a big example of that of I hate the world and fuck everybody and none of you guys matter and it's about feeding me. And
right,
then he learns through his interactions with Naruto and the tuning exam
right,
that like no, like, nah, man, it's not me that makes me better. It's the people and the environment and the village that I accept that makes me better and gives me those opportunities. So that's why he's just a very significant character to me. Plus, he's a
okay.
fucking badass and he can whoop anybody's ass.
Yeah. Yeah, that's those are some good choices, man. Wow, Gar. Wow, man. Yeah, for me, it would have to be Sasuke. I don't know, I like a good revenge story. I'm a sucker for revenge stories. Sasuke. Then after Sasuke, I would say Shikamaru, and then I would say I actually like Rock Lee and Neji. I like those
Ooh,
characters. Rock Lee. the reason why I included him because this man didn't know no genjutsu, no ninjutsu. All he knew was taijutsu. So it's like this man got the eye stacked against him. He out here fighting guard and you know what I'm saying, Kimaru. I'm like, you
And
know what I'm
holding his
saying?
own, bro. He ain't no punk either.
Yeah, he not. And he was like the black sheep, like Naruto was in a way, but he just didn't have ninjutsu or genjutsu. So it's like you kind of feel bad for him. You know, it's like this guy right here, he's dope though. He's a good fighter. His sensei is very similar to him too, only using taijutsu. The reason why I say Shikamaru, I guess, is intellect. He's very
Mm,
intellectual. Like he's even though he's at disadvantages, he tries to figure out a way to outweigh that in a situation. Like even when he fought the guy that killed Asuma, I was like, "Yo, this man is already a steps ahead of the opponent." You know, it's like this is crazy.
now, I
um,
think Shikamaru is a good one. He's actually an unsung one because they play him off like he's lazy and stuff, but he's actually like very, very integral to the
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Um,
he's lazy, but then it's crazy because I read the manga Boruto. He's Hokage now in Boruto, so it's
I'm not
like,
surprised though. Like when you really think about it, it's not shocking, right? Like,
yeah, it's
come
like he
on.
had the intellectual base. You know what I'm saying? And even when he fights people, he's like, okay, I know I'm at a disadvantage, but how can I went up? Like, how can I figure out to outmaneuver them? And then with him having the shadow possession jutsu, it's kind of like, well, he can't do too much with it. You know what I'm saying? That there's
Right.
no shade there. It's like he's got to figure out how to produce shade with the weapons that he's using.
And he does every time. So, but you
Yeah.
know what? Here was something
Mhm.
that I knew early on that Shikamaru was going to be an important character. Which, by the way, Shino is a character that people overlook a lot and is super fucking powerful. Um,
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
but Shikamaru, I knew was going to be important in the overall arc of things because he's the only one that they ever said that they ever gave like a particular side riddle to. And they're like, who protects the king or who is the king? No
Right.
one else gets that question throughout the arc so far that I've seen. So I'm like,
Yeah.
we're gonna see him again. There's more coming from him.
Yep, he's Hokage. And the spinoff of Boruto, yes, I was like, man, I kind of figured he was eventually gonna become Hokage. I was like, well, Naruto is, but I'm like, I know eventually Shikamaru is gonna be the guy
He earned it, man. He
because
earned
of
it. He's been carrying people for a long time, so it's about time.
yeah. And then Neji, the reason why I say Neji, his intellectualness, his
Great
proudness
pick,
with
by the way. Great pick,
yeah,
Neji.
yeah. I felt how I felt bad that they nerfed him in Shippuden. I was like, oh, they killed my man. So I said, what's going on, Cajun? And I feel like with Neji had a different upbringing from Hinata, so you kind of saw the differences. Like, yeah, they're both from the same family tree, but she's treated better than him, and he's feeling some type of way, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna whoop you up, cuz." And I remember the battle when he fought her. I was like, "Man, this man almost killed his own cousin."
He wasn't holding back. He didn't give no fucks.
Yeah, Neji, and then even how he treated his classmates, Ten and Rock Lee. Oh, he's beating the crap out of Rock Lee. I was like, God, duh. And Ten's over there loyal to Neji, you know what I'm saying? Because she probably like Neji and stuff. And I was like, this is kind of messed up. Like you over here, you know. And Neji's kind of underestimating him, like he'll never be a great ninja, Rock Lee, and telling Naruto the same thing. So you like, dang, this man is point on. But his fighting style was very unique because even though he had a blind side with the Bakugan, he knew the disadvantages on like, okay, this is the blind point. So if someone attacks me from this particular angle, I'm kind of in trouble.
But he already knew how to do it. And what I thought was special about Neji, one, he was one of the ones that everyone was afraid to fight,
Yeah,
going into the tuning exam.
right.
Um, the other thing though is that to your point about how him and Hinata came up in very different environments, like,
Yeah,
basically he grew up as a servant class or lower class and she's
class.
higher class, right? But
Right.
he's got the brutality of both sides. Like he could be as vicious as an elitist or someone that's in the streets and still has all of the intelligence to like you know, in a sense, he doesn't take time to sit here and sugarcoat it. He's gonna size you up, figure it out, and this is where you're supposed to be. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out the way or help. Either way, I love it.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, Neji definitely was one of the characters. I'm like, man, I wish they would have did more with him before they killed him. Like, oh man. But yeah, I think Neji did grow on me. At first, I'm like, man, I don't really like him like that. But then I'm like, yeah, he's got some interesting character traits there.
So I let him live. I let him live a little longer. Let's go.
Yeah, but I think also I forgot to mention about Sasuke was him being the avenger of his clan. You know, this is
Mhm.
he's only there are only a few members left, and he's the one that's out here taking out the people that pretty much tried to kill his clan off. He killed my man's Donzo, that was kind of like the Dark Knight of the Hidden Leaf Village. But what got me with Sasuke, I don't know if the creator of Naruto did this on purpose. I swear, like most of the battles that Sasuke had, everybody was sick. Itachi was sick, and Danzo was sick. I was like, why is he fighting these sick people?
Orochimaru is sick too.
Yeah,
Damn, good
Orochimaru was sick.
point. Yo, he over here taking on the Special Olympics and shit. He getting wait, I'm sorry, that was a bad one. That's a bad joke.
Oh man, yeah. I was like, these people at a disadvantage. Like this man health is better than
Right,
theirs.
that's crazy. I never thought of that. Good catch. Holy shit. I'm gonna go back to my man Jiggy, be like, nah, Sasuke a bitch, bro. He took on the sick ones.
But yeah, man. So for me, yeah, Naruto, yeah, it definitely has some interesting characters. I do like Gar as well too, and how he changed over time, and even just how he felt about the villagers in his village and stuff. But yeah, man, those are some good choices, man. You know, yeah, definitely. So my next question for you is, when it comes to what was I gonna say? When it comes to networking, what are some of the ones that surprised you, like people that you never expected that would wanted to work with you when it came down to it?
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one. You, first
Okay.
of all,
Mm-hmm.
like I said earlier, I didn't even consider myself a content creator at all.
Right.
Um, and a lot even now, it's still hard to think of it like I create content. You know, even though I use the hashtag skits and shit, it doesn't feel that way sometimes.
Okay.
Um, so you reaching out to me, wanting to work with me, um, me not necessarily knowing how I fit into the blurred world because
Okay.
because I do so many different things,
Right.
sometimes it feels like I'm not always sometimes it feels like my interest can seem shallow when it's really not.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, coming across you, excuse me, DJE was one of the biggest ones. He's someone
Okay.
that I recently work with now. Um, or it's we're actually been collaborating for like a year now. So
Okay.
um working with him through Emerald Dreams Lab has been
Excuse
surprising
me.
because
Hmm.
I am not always used to working in a team environment. A lot of times I'm used to like trying to work with a team and then sort of getting pushed out. So
Oh wow, I've been there, bub. Yeah, I've
yeah,
been there. Yeah.
so it's just like, all right, this is you always have that guard up and so I was really expecting a lot of um just a lot of headache and it hasn't been at all. So it's like, all right, this is crazy. And then the biggest surprise when it comes to collaborating with people
Hmm.
really has been the I would say the commission.
Okay.
Um in a sense of just so I network a lot, I talk a lot. You see me in the chats. I tend to
Yeah.
have a very
Yeah.
direct voice about things. And so
Right.
my biggest surprise has been coming into a world of hip hop, a culture of hip hop, and not being as, you know, let's say, well versed in things. Like I don't know the year something came out or how many something sold or you know, I don't remember verses like that. So sometimes I feel like I'm at a disadvantage or I have a chip on my shoulder about it. Like I gotta prove my shit. Um
Okay.
and going into that situation, um Back to the Lab or DMR, him and I had a relationship through social media of just being from Houston and liking Bud. And so when he reached out to me, like, like, yo, bro, you want to do this thing with me? I'm like, all right, let's see how it goes. Like, again, I'm not used to being accepted into groups very well. Um, I didn't necessarily feel very secure in being able to present myself as someone that really like shows hip hop that way.
Okay.
So it was like, all right, how's this gonna work? And then, here we are, like almost 3 years later, still rocking, still doing our thing. I feel very, very comfortable in my position in a sense, like I'm a contributing member to the commission, to the collaboration. So that's been one of the biggest surprises when it comes to networking and stuff. The
Okay.
other one, this is a quick story. The other one that has been one of the craziest surprises um, is just doing the podcast thing, interviewing people, networking with KC in a way that I do. A lot of artists have started to like reach out to me and ask me for not necessarily advice, but like, yo, what do you think of this? Or I'm getting
Okay.
people are like referencing me in their rhymes and shit. I'm like, yo,
What?
this is
That's what's up, man.
crazy. And it's just coming from it really comes from networking and
Yeah.
talking to people and being part of the community. So like, all right, this is not expected, but let's go.
Yeah, that's great, man. If you think about it, yeah, I've been in groups. You know what I'm saying, in the past. Where I've been pushed out, I could definitely relate to that. I've been in like maybe I was in a Facebook content creator group that didn't work out. I got kicked out of that. I was like in a Twitter group that was so dramatic. Like people didn't really like each other. There were only like a few of us that kind of were cool with one another. Some of those people went on, and I remember the day I left, they were like, the one consecrator's like, "Yeah, why did you leave?" I'm like, "It's too much drama going on." The person that created the group and the other guy, they're going at it like off and on Twitter, and I'm just like, I don't have time for this. So I ended up leaving. I was also in an IG before the one that I created. There was a group that I was in, and that had problems too. You know, some people were showing favoritism. Some people didn't want to deal with other people, and I'm like, this is not working. So I exited out of that, and then eventually I created an IG group for content creators, and then also on Twitter. But yeah, it seemed like the one group I was in. Speaking of that, it was way too many people. It's like over like 500 people in a content creator group.
Wow.
It was too
Wow.
big. It was
That
way too big. Like, how are you gonna get to know a person when there's that many members in a group?
Nah, man, talk about herding cats. That's crazy. And to some
Yeah,
degree, for me,
yeah.
as you were talking about that, so I came up in the gaming world too. I played
Okay,
video games.
okay,
I'm a nerd in that regard. I play World of Warcraft, and
okay.
being in that environment, I ended up in a guild.
Hmm.
Um, I assume you know what that is, a guild and stuff.
Yeah.
I know you know. And even in that scenario, I ended up like being a guild leader. So the chat world that we end up in now when it comes to like social media and trying to market and brand is really not it's not new to me in a sense where you end up in this list or this forum of 30, 40, 50 people that you only know 5 of them and you're trying to figure out the others and you're trying to carve out your personality and shit. That's why I
Right.
just like you see me, man. I just like, hey bro, what's up? I'm bumped. There's cookies in the corner. They stale as fuck. Try one. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I just gotta have fun with this shit. And if you
Yeah.
don't like me, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
So my next question for you, and this is kind of more on the YouTube direction. What's the meaning behind sprinkle some salt? Is it something dealing with knowledge or just telling truth? Is that what it is?
It's all of that, man. It's all of
Okay.
that. So right off the bat though, like I like bars, I like witticisms, clever shit. I like things
Okay.
that kind of like play together. And so for
Hmm.
me, it's still food. I love food. My wife is a
Okay.
chef. I'm in the kitchen with the wife a lot. So when it came time to, like, hey, I want my own podcast, and we had been talking about podcasts for a long time.
Right,
And again, I was working with WAP Gang, and it's like, look, I am 100% not an active artist, but I still have this urge to speak.
right.
And so that's where that angle came from. And when it comes to Sprinkle Some Salt, the name itself and the concept behind it really is, it's a lot of different things. It really is like what you said about, speaking the truth, kicking some knowledge, adding some fucking flavor to shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
um, I'm a black man. I love black culture. I love the cool that black people create,
Right.
and being something for me that, whether it be food related or music related, I need that shit to have flavor. And so that's the message. Like, the behind the name Sprinkle Some Salt, it's literally like entertain, educate, add some flavor to that shit. Let's speak some truth. The whole premise behind everything, whether it be conversations from the cardiac or lab legends or the new Mecca, is about having extraordinary conversations with everyday people. Because I
Okay.
think, I don't want to say average people, but
Okay.
everyone is, well, whether you like it or not, I'm as much like you as
Yeah.
you're like Cajun's Blurred Eye, and Princess Sasha is as much like me as I'm like you. So regardless of all the uniqueness about it, and so that's my thing, is that we have everyday um continuities about each other, but we're leaving all of these heavy, serious conversations that we should be having to people that don't even try to act like us, think like us, and actually pride themselves on being different from us. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So
Okay.
why does Dan Rather or Laura Gates or whoever's on any mainstream media get to tell me what reality is, when
Okay.
I can have a conversation with you
Yeah.
and find out even more of what life in Michigan is like, or
Yeah.
life in South Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the whole premise behind Sprinkle Some Salt.
Oh wow. So with YouTube, man, I've been seeing you've been knocking out these interviews at Emerald Emerald Labs. How did that sponsorship come up, man?
Hustle, man, hustle. It was hustle. I'm gonna be dead ass. I don't even know if they're probably, I don't know if they're like this story, but yeah, fuck it, man. They fuck with me. Um, I've been doing Sprinkle Some Salt for roughly about 3 years now.
Right.
Conversations from the Cardiac is probably on its second year as far as a regular series.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, how do I turn this into revenue? How do I take that next step?
Okay.
So I was like, man, I was off work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take some, like an hour or 2 hours, and just start calling people.
Right.
And so I gathered a list of like 15 different people or companies that I thought we could work together. And like, yo, here's an email, here's a phone call. I'm looking for sponsorship. Like, literally as simple as $100 a month. We'll work
Okay.
something out. Let's figure it out, right?
Right.
I'm economically feasible. And
Okay.
Emerald Dreams Lab calls me back like, yo, fuck all that shit. Come on down here, work with us, throw us in your tagline when you do shit, have access to the space. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Let's see what it is, right?
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm still hustling it and making phone calls. So if y'all need sponsorship, holla at me. But no, or no, I need sponsorship. Holla at me, either way.
Right.
But no, it just was like one of those things where a closed mouth don't get fed. So I just said, hey, what's going on? And they're like, hey, this is what's going on. What you think? And it's just been like that ever since.
Hey man, you like the Master P of KC, huh?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That they say, hey, come down here, show us some love, and then you can do episodes down here. That's dope, man. It's good that people are open to giving people a chance. 'Cause you know how sometimes people like, do I really want to give them a chance? Or do I really not want to give them a chance? And sometimes all it takes is one chance, and and just putting yourself out there and say, yo, I'll go down there. Let me see what they're talking about. And that's great that it created that type of opportunity for you, man. dope because like when I see the episodes, I'm like, man, it's really cool because it's just like you're in the studio, just chilling and just conversating with people. And I think that's dope, man. Like you, one thing I can say about you, Bump, is that you work with the younger and the older generation because they always say, oh, the older generation don't want to work with the younger generation. And that's not necessarily true. It depends on who you come across. And I can't say that for Bump because I seen Bump with kids, younger people, older people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'll see that. So I can't say that because I saw that with Bump, and I'm like, yeah. And you were actually one of the first people because I worked with an older cat on YouTube, and it just didn't work out. It was more of an ego issue that
Mhm.
person had that I saw, and it was like, bro, we from the same state. This man didn't want to work with nobody. You know what I'm saying? And then once I started to grow as a content creator, I think he kind of got envious.
Ah,
Um, but yeah, you're one of the first people. I was like, damn, like this dude is super cool. Like,
I mean, you know what, bro? At the end of the day,
yeah,
I don't wanna sound like R. Kelly and be like, "Age ain't nothing but a number," but
okay,
you know what I'm saying? But coming up in the South, man, I learned that anyone can be your friend. Anyone can teach you something from 8 to 80. There's
yeah,
some knowledge to be imparted. So it
right,
was never about age for me. It's always about experience and maturity.
right,
And it's 100% about perspective. And for
yeah,
me, I'm here to expand my perspective. And the only way for me to do that is to engage other people. So I can't pigeonhole myself to only talking to 45-year-olds because now I'm stuck to 45-year-olds that only wanna fucking pay bills, and that's cool, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's other shit to talk about, you know?
that's
Um,
true. Yeah, right,
but
Cajun, true. Yeah, and that kind of made me because at that point I was like, man, and I didn't have a statement towards older people. It just made me aware of what was going on with some older people when it came to the consecrator lane. And then I was like, damn, I came across Bump. And then some of these other consecrators that were older than me, I'm like, man, these are super cool people. Just because I had this one bad experience, this is not the end. You know what I'm saying?
well, and you know the other part, I'm a big kid, so
Okay.
Imma definitely, give it up to anime and all of that, but also hip hop, man,
Yeah.
and music in general, because as much as, like, within the culture of hip hop, when it comes to the music, it's all a young man's game and stuff, but
Right.
it's really not. What it is that hip hop has a youthful energy,
Yeah.
and it's a youthful culture
Right.
because you're constantly thinking of the future and talking of the past and representing the now.
Right.
So there is no age. It's just perspective and it's not where you're from, it's where you at. So no one cares how old you are and none of that shit. And that's always just kind of for me, that's always been important. That's how I grew up. It's what I've always glommed onto is that, yeah, I don't give a shit. And here's the other thing, man.
hmm
100%, bro. I'm a wizard, bro. I'm a hustler. As a wizard, I don't got no age. I'm wherever the fuck I
Okay.
need to be to make this shit happen. And
Right.
as a hustler, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're 8 years old or 80 years old. If you have the knowledge and the situation to help me, help you, help each other, help the world, let's go. If Greta Thunberg can get on whatever platform and make changes at
Yeah.
18,
Yeah.
then why can't George Burns do the same at 85? It doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Care. I don't need no blockage. I don't need no modifiers. Let's get to the hustle. Let's get to making this shit better than it was. So I don't believe in none of that shit.
Okay. Yeah, when you think about it, yeah, that's definitely interesting perspective for sure. Yeah, when you think about hip hop, definitely there are a lot of younger cats that's doing music, older cats. It's interesting that you brought up that with the hip hop perspective on it because yeah, there are a lot of nice old cats too that's like up and coming, and you're like, what? But then there are younger cats that's out here doing it too. So yeah, definitely, man. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, you can't stamp it with limitations, I guess.
Nah, you can't, man. And since I
Yeah,
do so many different things, it would behoove me to not put no limitations on myself in any
Yeah.
way, whether it comes to interactions or experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. I don't want to talk to you because of what? Please, let's go. Let's go make some money, man. Let's go do something cool. Shit.
Right. So my next question is about the podcast that you and your son have. How did that come about, man? Because you guys be going at it. I was like, man.
Oh man. So okay, so that is the smoked out Sundays
Yeah.
segment of Sprinkle Some Salt.
Right.
Um and so it really came about as we just smoke blunts together. That's really what it is.
Okay.
We Years and years ago, he lived with me and we would be in our lower level. I'm on one side in the studio side and he's on the other side in his room. And I would be like, hey, you want to smoke? Yeah, let's smoke. And then he'd come back to me, hey, Pops, you want to smoke? Yeah, let's smoke. And we would be talking shit. Um, at that same time, we started Sprinkle Some Salt as a podcast as a whole. And
Oh
so
wow.
Thrax
Okay.
was the original like Thrax, myself, Kiana Chemist, Justice, and Damo were the original 5 co-host or panel of Sprinkles
Okay.
of Salt. And so Thrax and I, that's my son Thrax, and
Correct.
him and I just always we just started recording on smoke sessions and talking shit. And then it became
Okay.
one of those things where like, all right, so when we couldn't schedule everyone together, him and I would still get together and just like smoke and have a session. And
Okay.
we would start, and then it was like, all right, let's go live and talk about whatever.
Okay.
And low key, those lives where we were smoking and talking our shit is where Conversations from the Cardiac was born, because I got comfortable talking on live with someone else. And then we started interviewing people together, him and I. And I was like, okay, this works. But he likes smoking and talking to me more. So I'm going to separate these two and I'm gonna talk to the artist myself while I'm
Okay.
smoking, and then
Okay.
him and I are just gonna keep doing this. And so it really just became a way to continue the idea of Sprinkle Some Salt, talking that unusual, extraordinary conversation with everyday people, but also like, yo, man, let's just smoke some shit, talk some shit, have some
Okay.
fun. So that's where it came from, man. Plus, that's actually how him and I are. He loves to argue with me. He loves to fucking, he brings a lot of different knowledge because he's always looking up random shit.
Yeah.
So he likes kicking the knowledge and he loves to kick my ass in a debate. That's what it is. So,
but you know what? I love that, man. I love to see that you guys are working together, father and son. You know what I'm saying? It's great to see that because you don't see that as much. Sometimes you do with people, sometimes you don't in this lane. And it's good as working out. So this is your second year for it. Am I right?
yes, yep, second year.
Second year. Oh, what's going on, Aries? My bad. But yeah, that's dope, man, that you guys figured out something that y'all can do together that y'all enjoy talking about. Like you enjoy knowledge. He loves looking up new information that you're unaware of. And I mean, you guys talk about political stuff, technology, you name it, hip hop.
Everything. But
Yeah.
it's also become a way for him and I to talk about men's health,
Okay.
mental health. It's become a great way for him and I to not only bond off camera and in
Hmm.
personal life, but to bond in a way that we're like, you know, we're able to scope our own lanes and path and show the world our growth together while we're having these important conversations between ourselves and about the world.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it seems like, man. All right, I'm cooking. I'm going. All right, see you, Princess.
Ooh. Shout out to the chat, man. Y'all are hella
Yeah,
entertaining,
appreciate it,
actually, man. I
Chad.
love
Yeah.
reading these notes.
Yeah, but that's dope, man. I was like, man, because I often wondered, I said, man, you guys, I every now and then, I hop in, I'm like, man, y'all be having some interesting topics. I'm like, wow. But it's good that you guys separated it, that he was more into the other aspect of it. You were more into interviewing the artists, producers, upcoming people and stuff, or people that's in the KC area. Yeah, that's really cool, man, that you realize, like, hey, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So my next,
I'm. Oh no, go
oh,
ahead,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Yeah, go
What?
ahead, but go ahead, man.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm a mule, bro. I'm stubborn, so it's like I see it happening, and if this isn't gonna happen, cool. I'm not gonna force you into this. I'm just gonna this is where you're I'm very big on empowering people's passions, right? Um,
Okay.
unfortunately, sometimes I push it to the point of like, let's make money, but it don't have to be. If you don't want to make money, cool. If you feel good, then you're there, and that's good. And I'm gonna support you there. I don't stop, so I'm gonna be over here. It doesn't mean I'm in front of you. Doesn't mean I'm behind you. I'm right here. We
Right.
still working, but I'm working over here too. Just how it goes.
Yeah. So my next question, this was interesting. I never asked anyone this. How do you find balance in this bump? I mean, every time I look around, bro, I'm like, he's doing a little bit of everything. You're a family man. You know what I'm saying? You got a son, wife, grandkids. It's like, man, this is incredible.
Oh man, that is a good question. To be honest, I'm still finding balance.
Okay.
My family is very, very, very important to me,
Yeah.
because they're the reason why I do what I do. And
Right.
so the biggest balance is just really taking a day or two and not being on my phone, not um and it may not be a whole day or two, but it's just like, I'm gonna take this moment, put the phone down and try and play with the grandkids or put this thing together or um I have I'm learning the
Hmm.
language of my wife. I'm really bad at that, but I'm starting to learn like, okay, she's she's throwing out these bits of engagement because she wants me to stop with that and come over here and spend some time with her. So like I'm really bad at it. I'm not gonna sit here and get on camera and lie, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
um my focus is to see this is where it gets muddy for me. And
Okay.
it's hard to explain this to other folks, whether it be my
Right.
family or otherwise. I don't necessarily need the balance because I'm such a chaotic person in a sense that I don't live in balance. I live in the mess. And
Okay.
that is my balance, right?
Okay.
The other part that is very, very important to me is that I've lived in the structured 9 to 5 corporate world for 20 plus years.
Right.
And what's important to me is being able to live life on my terms, doing the things that I want. And
Okay.
so it's 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 hard to explain to folks that because I talk about these things all the time, it may seem like I'm obsessed with them, but the thing is that I'm at a point where I've been able to I'm blessed, I'm lucky, I'm beloved by the universe, however we want to put it, to
Right.
where my passions align with my income. So
Okay.
I'm able to or not only, you know what I mean? Like I'm able to find a way to talk hip hop and still have it be business. I'm able to talk about politics and everyday life, comic books, anime, video games, the whole world of things that make sense in my head, and
Right.
still be able to push that towards business because it's my business, it's my freedom. I'm able to have a conversation at my dinner table with my wife at 10 a.m. in the morning over a cup of coffee and build with her not only on this fun thing that I enjoy, which is food, but also this thing that we own, which is our business, which
Okay.
also is our future and our past because I'm working towards a full-time gig, right? But I'm
Right.
also working towards giving something towards my family.
Right.
And in the midst of all of that, I'm also working towards having the freedom to have that time with my family to do the things that I want. Because as I'm pushing my passions, the
Hmm.
more of these passions, the more of these interviews, the more sprinkle some salt and
Right.
EMTs and the commission that I can do,
Right.
the less of that corporate job I have to do, which now means I can spend more of that time showing my grandchildren and my children and my wife the fruits of these things that I'm pushing. So the balance is delicate, but it's all about the perspective because I don't see the things in a way that they do.
Okay. Dang, that's a good answer, but that's a good answer. Yeah, man. I was like, when you said, I'm like, wow, that I would have never expected that. Wow. So you think the chaoticness is your creativity? That's like your comfort zone. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Dang,
Yeah,
man.
I
Okay.
don't know how to I know how to organize my desk and I know how to organize myself if I need to have a meeting and if I need to get things done. But like I mean, if you looked at any of the conversations from the cardiac interviews, people are like, "Oh my god," or even the Lab Legends interviews, they see my notes and they're like, "Oh my god, this guy's got all this research." No, I don't have no research. I didn't even look you up before any of this. I just I saw your music and I saw your content, or I saw what you did or your
Yeah.
comedy, and I watched that for a while and I was like, "This is fun. I like this. Let me talk to him." And as soon as you say yes, you want to talk to me, I don't look at your page anymore because I don't want to know anymore. I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised by your
Yeah.
answers. And when they look at my page, so like I got an interview this afternoon.
Right.
They see this list, right? They look at this and they're like, "Oh my god, oh my god, this guy's research. He's got notes." No, these are just 30 fucking questions that I want to know about this guy. And none of it has to do with your
Yeah.
music or any of that, because I want to know
Yeah.
about you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you tend to do that, Bump. That's true. You do have your questions ready.
So it
So,
seems like I'm organized and balanced, but a lot of times that shit is just straight freestyle, bro. You
okay,
know,
nothing
and,
wrong with that. Nothing
and
wrong with that.
it's actually just like a freestyle in hip hop when you so if you a little history lesson, right? A little class.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, when it comes to rap and hip hop, a lot of people think of freestyle as something that's straight off the dome, or they think that it's a sort of pre-written rhyme that they just threw on a beat. The
Right.
original the original freestyle was a pre-written rhyme that
Right.
had no subject. There was no story, no purpose. It was just a rhyme that was written and you freestyled it over the beat. You could use it any place. The flow would change depending on the beat or whatever. That was the
Right.
original freestyle. And then somewhere in like late 90s, early 2000s, Freestyle Fellowship, Micah Nine, several other cats,
Okay.
they started freestyling like off of the dome.
Okay.
And so then that becomes the norm. And then Fabulous comes out and he starts giving you sort of these pre-written freestyles where you have this 15, 16 bar verse that is pre-written, but you
Right.
can't tell what part he pulls it in from. So he's giving you freestyles and he's giving you so in a lot of ways, that's how I approach my interviews. I have my pre-written notes,
Right.
but then I'm freestyling in between, like where we going with this motherfucker.
Okay. Okay. So my next question is something that I mean we already talked about it, but we're gonna bring it up anyway. What are some of your favorite food dishes, man? I mean, you talked about food, What are some of your top five, top six food dishes?
Ugh. All right, let's go. So number one food for me is tacos. I love tacos.
Ooh.
Um, let's see. Number two is a burger. I love burgers.
Okay,
Number
that's a
three,
good choice.
number three is sandwiches. Um,
Okay.
I love just any kind of sandwich. By the way, there was a guy a couple years ago on the Food Network that called himself the Sandwich King. I don't know your name, and I don't want to know your name, but you were not the Sandwich King. Just let you know respectfully. Um, let's see. Number four would be, oh man, probably like protein and rice. I love
Okay,
rice. I
I'm a
grew up
rice
on
head.
rice.
I'm
Yeah,
a
right.
rice
You know what I'm
head.
saying? Oh, can we say that? Oh,
Bean rice.
but nah, like I love, steak and rice, fish and rice, chicken and rice. Doesn't matter.
Chicken and rice, yeah.
Pro- Protein and rice. And then number five food is it really should be number one because number
Okay.
five, I need number five to happen for all of the others to work. Number five is it has to be cooked by my wife. Anything made by my wife
Okay.
is my favorite food. She's
Okay. Yeah,
she's
Kane said
never
he loved rice too. We team rice, man.
let's go, let's go.
Yeah, I'm a burger person. I'm a sandwich person too. Yeah, and then me. I also like wraps. Do you like the chicken Caesar wraps
I
and?
I can't get into them. I fuck with them to a
Okay.
degree. I, I like I guess it's because they call it a wrap and not a burrito. It's a burrito. I'm just
Hey, you saying that it's really a burrito, huh? It's in
don't,
the same shell.
know what I'm saying? Don't play with my intelligence, man. You know what I'm
It's like the Jim Carrey movie. Remember the Truman Show?
saying? know what I'm saying? I'm saying, I'll just look, bro. A burrito has meat, lettuce, cheese, and condiments, and then you wrap it in a flour tortilla. Okay, what's in a wrap? What's in a wrap? Come on,
Lettuce, cheese, chicken.
wrapped in a flour tortilla.
So
Come on.
it's pretty much an unofficial burrito.
Just saying,
That's a
man.
good one, man.
The Mexican delegation should send in a complaint on that. That's all I'm saying.
Right? Yeah, they need to do a vote.
Salute Cajun. Cajun said he with me, man. Salute, bro. I
Yeah,
love it.
Cajun, that's true, man. Oh man. So my next question is more of a hip hop basis. And if you were like on a car ride, say for instance, you going to Michigan, not Michigan, but from California, going to California from KC, what music, hip hop albums would you play throughout the ride? Like what?
Oh
Maybe
man.
five, maybe seven, eight
Okay.
albums.
Albums. Okay,
Yeah.
albums. Definitely gonna play who man. So definitely gonna play some DMX.
Okay.
Hell is hot.
Ooh.
Definitely
Okay.
gonna play Ludacris, Chicken and Beer, and then Back Like I Never Left. But Chicken and Beer is a really good one.
Yeah, that was my
Um,
first Luda album that I got from
uh,
mine.
oh shit. Okay, see. Definitely gonna play some UGK, Underground
Okay.
Kings. Um, I'm gonna go a little bit left here. I'm gonna play it's not gonna necessarily be hip hop, but definitely gonna have some Jimi Hendrix in a mix on that. Maroon
Ooh.
5,
Okay. Jimmy.
Shinedown, get some of that rock and roll, some of that alt in there. Then
Okay.
we'll come back to Goody Mob, probably Soul Food, but there's another one. There's an album that has Inshallah on there. I think it's like their second one. One
Okay.
Monkey Don't Stop No Show, I believe. Mo-
Okay.
So definitely get some Goody Mob. Gotta have some Ice Cube,
Okay.
America's Most Wanted. Uh,
Okay. Good choice. Yeah.
of course, Hieroglyphics, 93 Till Infinity.
Okay.
Mob Deep, anything by Mob Deep. I don't give a shit. Anything by Mob Deep. Um,
Okay.
well, okay, hold on. Except Juvenile Hell. I wasn't a fan of their very first project.
Okay.
The rhymes was kind of stilted to me. But that second, after that, Hell on Earth, let's go.
Okay.
Um, um, Definitely gotta play some Cash Money records. So like Juveniles, um, it's 400 Degrees,
Okay.
Lil Wayne's Block is Hot, Lil Wayne Carter 2, Carter 3. I don't care about none of the Carters after that, but they all right.
That's
Uh,
okay, man.
Talib Kweli and Most Def Black Star, Most Def Black on Both Sides. That's a crazy fucking album.
Okay.
Um, The Roots, anything by The Roots. As a matter of fact, I could play an entire trip by just playing The Roots. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
and then of course, NWA and the fuck now, X Clan, X Clan,
Okay.
To the East Blackwards.
Okay.
That whole project. Let's go.
Oh wow. Okay, those are some good choices, man.
And Wu Tang. I almost forgot Wu Tang. Don't come on, y'all. I
Okay.
almost forgot, but I'm Wu Tang. Come on.
Oh man, yeah, those were good choices, man. I'm not gonna say it. I'm like, okay, some of these choices, I'm like, wow, okay. The Jimi Hendrix one surprised me. Like, I'm an old soul. Like, I listen to Jimi Hendrix. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what it is. Yeah.
man. Right. So for me, I got a question for you. Are you more into the underground scene of hip hop, or do you like more of the mainstream, and why?
Mm, that is a good question. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm more into the impact of the hip
Okay.
hop culture,
Okay.
and how it allows people of color,
Hmm.
non-mainstream folks to find their voice. So, do I like the underground? Yes, I love the underground. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, the underground should be the mainstream. There shouldn't be a main. There shouldn't be an underground. It should just be, like you go to Sirius XM.
Hmm.
There's no underground. They'll label it underground, but really you just have different channels. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's
Yeah.
all this shit should be.
Yeah.
Um, so what I like the mainstream, if we're gonna call it that, the commercial aspect, because
Right.
I'm big on transitions and
Okay.
the musicality of things. So
Okay.
there's a certain element that you get when it comes to the composition of hip hop when it's on the radio, like a Missy Elliott, J. Cole, Kendrick
Right.
Lamar. Um, it doesn't matter. You could throw any name in there, right? But Drake, right?
Right.
They approach it in a way that the music is gonna flow wherever you're at, and you're not gonna lose the transition of what the music is trying to do.
Right.
The underground has that same aspect, but there's this artsy element that is like, "Nah, we don't give a fuck about how you're dancing. We just want you to feel this shit." It's like, "All right, cool."
Yeah.
But it's sometimes you ain't making me feel it though, because you're not putting that level of polish that the mainstream expects. Um,
Okay.
so do I want the underground to act like the mainstream? No, but I do wish that the underground would sometimes take this shit a little bit more seriously.
Okay.
Um, it's okay to be artistic. I love that artistic angle. I love the poetic angle. I love the showmanship of things that can happen in the underground. I love the rawness that happens in the underground. But at the same time, I need that expectation that I'm doing this to be better, not to just say fuck you to the mainstream. Nah, you don't need to. You know what threw me was this is what ruined it for me when it comes to underground versus mainstream.
Okay.
The mixtape era.
Okay. Okay.
When when 50 Cent and Wayne and J. Cole and all these cats can put out music that is pretty much underground. It's you can only get it through the barbershop. You can only get it through the bootleg. You can only get it through Dat Piff.
Yeah,
And
that's
some of
Piff with
these,
live mixtapes. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And some of these projects were better than the professional albums.
Mm.
That told me at that point in time, when Rick Ross can put out Black Bar Mitzvah 2 and it be better than Rich Forever, that told me that the effort, it's all about the effort. You guys could still be fucking underground and have professional commercial level quality that's got everybody moving. And come on, man. People will tell you like, all right, what's your greatest fucking song from so and so? About a mixtape song, right?
Right.
If you talk about Eminem, if we're not talking about those projects, it was the
Yeah.
Green Lantern series. If you talk about 50 Cent, it's the fucking the mixtape series. Most people don't even care. Everyone that loves J. Cole,
Hmm.
they're referencing the mixtape J. Cole.
Wow. That's interesting. Very interesting. Wow.
So for me, it's and it comes off like I'm dogging the mixtape or the underground. I'm not dogging the underground. I'm just saying that I love them both, and I see the potential in both. I see that the mainstream has too much corporate structure and is chokehold in the artist, and I see that the underground has too much resentment and is taking on this laissez-faire mediocrity that's unnecessary when we have all seen that is very, very capable for the underground artist to be just as polished, just as professional, and just as profitable as a mainstream artist.
That's an interesting take, Bob. Man, when you think about it, wow, you said the mistape era. I guess I can see where you're coming from with this, with the mistape era. I mean, I guess the culture, I should say internet culture and hip hop culture as well. I guess the mistapes are kind of just the stuff they originally wanted to say on the debut album, but the label said, no, you can't put this out. Go put it on a mistape or EP. I think the one artist that kind of broke out of that narrative, and I know it was hard for him,
Mhm.
was J. Cole and Kendrick. More
Yeah.
so J. Cole when it came to the mainstream aspect, because Kendrick was signed to an indie record label and he had to deal with some stuff too as well. But when J. Cole came out with Forest Hill Drive, that was the album, and I remember seeing a documentary on it, Forest Hill Drive. He said, hey, look, man, if this don't work for me, it's back to the 9 to 5. I gotta go back to the post office. I'm like, dang, like he was like, that was the real reality of it because he said, well, Jay-Z's giving me the opportunity to talk about what I really want to talk about. And if this does not work, then I'm gonna be under the control of Jay-Z. He's gonna tell me what to put out in my own music. So
Right.
I guess J. Cole said I didn't want that, if that happened, that scenario. So he was willing to go back to a regular job. With Kendrick, he dealt with it too, with Top Dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes, he signed to Interscope and Aftermath and stuff like that. But the album, damn, some of the verses on there, they had to take off. Like they literally had to take off. There was even a verse on Element when you talking about French Montana and Jay Electronica and Big Sean, like the original verse of Element. Woo,
Yeah.
man, I'm glad he took that verse off. Like he was going at French, he was going at Big Sean, even Jay Electronica. I'm like, because I kind of felt like when I heard Element that was aimed at Big Sean and in
Right.
a subliminal diss way. Because we know Kendrick's kind of known for throwing subliminals at people. You're like, it's got to be aimed at him.
It was too soon to the scenario and just like,
Yeah,
we know where yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I get what you're coming from with this underground. It's tricky. There are some good underground artists out there. I know Billy Woods is probably one of my favorite underground artists.
Ooh.
Um, You got who else is out there? Lucid. You got the guy Fahim. There's some nice cats in the underground. Shay Noor. I mean, like the
You know,
underground.
here's
Yeah.
another thing about the underground that
Hmm.
for me is just another angle. And I was actually recently talking about this on one of my segments, Blunt Talk.
Okay.
And the thing about the underground is that it's not even real anymore in a lot of ways. I
That's
mean,
true.
there's a
Yeah.
segment of it that I
Yeah.
see because of what I do with Sprinkle Some Salt and the
Right.
showcase that I put on the New Mecca. I see 100% underground artists, but then you have artists that we are being presented to as underground or unknown, that they're just industry plants. Like in some of these cases, these are not underground scenarios. These are folks that have connections to a DJ or a producer, and they have a production deal through that person who has a distribution deal through the Sony records or whoever, and they're getting a little bit of different push, maybe not a whole lot. So maybe they don't have $100,000 machine, but they have a $40,000 machine behind them. That
Right.
doesn't, I'm not saying that's not underground. I'm just saying
Right.
that you're coming into a space where a lot of these folks are working 9 to 5s right now. It's not even a worry of going back to. They haven't left. And they're trying to find their way and get their shine. Meanwhile, they're fighting against artists that have industry connections, and they're coming up in the quote unquote underground so they can add to the origin story of I got it out the mud. No, you didn't. You're Lana fucking Del Rey. You're Taylor Swift. You have a cousin or an uncle, or you know what I'm saying? Your weed guy was the DJ at the strip club that they, come on, man. Stop, chill.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting take on that for sure. Yeah, underground it's tricky. It's definitely tricky when it comes down to it because some artists are not underground. But then again, maybe they're looking at it from an independent aspect because we do have the indie lane
Right.
as well, where you have indie artists that are underground. I mean, they have the indie grind, but maybe the underground popularity around them, I guess. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is with some artists where they, like you said, is I guess it's all perspective if you really think about it.
Well, that's what they want. The artists in general and the fans want that. We want that. We want to know that um there is a come up. Shout out
Yeah,
to Cajun's Blurred Eye.
yeah, thanks.
It ain't
Right.
the same with the come up anymore
Yeah,
because originally it doesn't matter if it's hip hop or rock and roll or country. The original story, the Horatio Alger version of the music industry is the starving artist who kept going no matter what, and somebody at some point discovered them at a nightclub or a bar or whatever, and then boom, after all this years of work. I mean, look at the coal miner's daughter, Loretta Lynn. Her story is the classic story of what everyone wants to present because they want to be like, I came from the mud and I went through these trenches and I did the Chitlin circuit and I did this and then I got it. You know what I mean? But
right.
you want that. to be how you show off, but you don't want to actually go through that. So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. So the next question is, do you have any favorite nerdcore artists, like maybe a Lupe Fiasco, MF Doom?
ooh, man.
Um,
Ooh, that's a good one. So nerdcore.
yeah.
I don't know the name of very many nerdcore artists. I know what nerdcore is. I like it
Okay.
when I hear it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would put Lupe Fiasco or MF Doom as nerdcore, to
Okay.
be honest.
Okay.
I maybe
Okay.
Logic, but
Okay.
I think Logic pimps the nerdcore label, um,
Okay.
to keep himself relevant. God, there are artists out there, and I wish I could give you names. I don't have names. I'm gonna be transparent,
Hey, that's
but
okay, man. Yeah.
I know that there are a lot of. Here's my thing, and this is why I kind of went away from nerdcore in a sense. I like the music. I like the ability to put intricate, dope ass flows and bars together about nerd stuff, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, my problem had been it was too white. I'll just be
Okay.
honest. It was too white.
Okay. Okay.
I wanted to see some niggas. I needed to see some black folk.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
and so I know that there's some out there. I just haven't found it. I think to some degree, Shay Noir is a certain or there's an artist no name.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably more on the activist side of hip
Yeah,
hop,
they're more
right?
activists. Yeah, no name. Yeah, she definitely is. Yeah,
Um,
she's yeah.
I think Tierra Whack is a very strong nerd culture representative in her own
Okay.
way because just how she kind of references pop culture. Oh no, God, this no, I'm oh my God, my brother from Philly, he's gonna kill me when he sees this. I'm so sorry, bro. Um, not ill blurmatic, but fuck it. Now I'm the illest gamer. I blanked on his name.
Okay.
Blame my mind and not my heart, bro. And plus, I
Right.
had 2 blunts before. But the illest gamer,
Okay.
um, there's a guy. Damn, I just fucking in Clutch Boy Wonder. Um, um, God damn, there is actually a strong black, let's say,
It is. You know what?
Nordcore, but
Yeah.
I got to get better at getting in touch with that.
Yeah. There is. I would say SV is one. He's been around since like
Oh
the
yeah,
90s.
XP. And
Yeah.
he's from fucking Wichita. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
He's
SV.
definitely see, okay, so
Um.
here's where it goes weird for me is that I don't know that I would have ever if we go that route, then Stick Figure could be
Okay.
considered nerd culture,
Okay.
nerdcore, but he's still ghetto hip hop. So
Okay.
this is why like Lupe doesn't fall under nerdcore for me because
Okay.
maybe because I'm putting too much of a emphasis on the expectation because like he's so bar heavy in hip hop and like he still represents the streets in a way.
Right.
But at the same time, he is talking about karate, but then he's talking about militant shit. So it's like, ah, but you're right though. You're right.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've actually liked nerdcore more than I thought and didn't
Right.
realize it because
Okay.
wouldn't thank you. That's a great fucking question. You just opened my eyes to myself.
Yeah, because I would say Lupe is. I mean, I guess he's a little bit more on the conscious side of things, but he does have references to like X Men and other different things as well. So it's like, well, he is maybe not completely like you said because he does conscious, talks about political stuff, other things as well, and he has a street edge to him.
No,
But yeah,
I think for me, I'm implying too much of the nerd. Like I want the over the top corny songs about how much you love your computer or your video game. And that's not necessary, right?
yeah,
Come
that's
on.
true. Because I mean, if you think about it, people consider Kendrick a nerd rapper, even though he's
Really?
and yeah, I mean, some people consider him now. I'm not saying that he is, but it's
Okay.
like, well, maybe on a musical aspect, you know what I'm saying? If you listen to his albums, each album is a different genre. Like To Pimp a Butterfly was a jazz album, if you really think about it. So it's like, yeah, he's a student of maybe just being in love with music more, say.
No, I can see that. Plus, he has a lot of like Easter eggs in the
Yeah,
way that he constructs his bars and put things together. So I can see
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's interesting.
Great question, man. I love this interview, by the way. Thank you so much, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. I was like, man. So how do you feel about hip hop? We all know it's a young genre. How do you feel about a lot of new older cats coming out in the genre, like a Griselda, Rocky Marciano, Billy Woods, or Lucy? How do you feel about that, man? Is it great to see that there are older cats
Yes.
represented as much as the younger cats?
Yes. I think number one, it's a beautiful thing because it negates the narrative that like hip hop is a young man's game.
True.
I do
Yeah.
believe it's a youthful culture and genre, but I think what's more important with Griselda blowing up in the way that they did, any other artist. Shout out to my boys, Back to the Lab and Chop, Rich
Right.
Notch. They're doing Natural Born Kings, New York to Texas connection.
Right.
Um,
A really
what
good project. Yeah.
what I think is important about these projects and these artists making moves that they do now at the age that they are, it shows to me that this has always been happening. This isn't new,
Yeah,
but
it's
we're
not new.
seeing it now.
Yeah, we're
You
seeing
know,
it more now. Yeah.
so like I mean, we had a lot of eras where everyone played off like they were young, and then you had that mixed in with, like Jermaine Dupri and all the young acts that he was pulling in, right? But I
Right.
mean, come on, man. Like Jay-Z started really popping at 25, 26.
Yeah.
Um, Tupac, now he passes away at 25, but that
Right.
tells you that he doesn't even start doing a lot of things till the later half
Half of
of
his
his
career.
right.
Yeah.
Look at anybody that's out right now. Like DJ Khaled is easily in his 40s. Uh Waka Flocka was definitely in his, mid 20s when he started.
Right.
Nobody was actually that fucking young when they got into the game as far
Yeah.
as when we saw them, but it just plays off that way. Um, I mean, maybe you started trying to get yourself into the game at 17 or 18, but your shit didn't blow like that until later on. There's very
Yeah.
few that, you know, come into the game at such a young age and really are either they blow up very quickly and go out very quickly, or they start really young, disappear, and they maintain for a long time, like a Nick Cannon, right?
Right.
Um, but the reality is when it comes to hip hop, they present to them as young, but most of these guys are well into their 20s, almost 30 by the time you see them as full-fledged artists. So I love the fact that we're seeing Griselda blow up at, Conway the Machine is damn near 40 some years old. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Plus, it shows went from a hip hop perspective, ever
Right.
since Cool Mo D, ever since KRS-One, ever since LL Cool J, even up to Tupac, all you
Right.
old niggas, take it off, what I mean, there's always been this young versus old competition.
Okay.
Um, what I like about it is that now we're getting to the point where it's not really an age competition, it's just a skill.
Yeah.
You guys, you have a skill set that you're bringing to the game no matter what age, and it's either gonna rock or it's not. And we're at such a juncture when it comes to flows, because people be like, "Oh, you rap old school. Oh, you rap modern." Okay, cool. Well, I tell you what, your modern flow, your extentacion flow, your Drake flow, that's great. And then here comes the Rakim flow. Here comes the Childish Gambino flow, or here comes Raekwon the Chef, Ghostface Killer. Um,
Right.
Lupe Fiasco, who uses the old school and the new school flow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the other guy from Mickey Fax?
Mickey Facts. Yeah. Yeah.
There's another guy. God damn, I can't, I'm pretty sure it's Mickey Fax, but there's another one with a really really deep voice. But there's a lot of cats that are, let's say, young,
Right.
that are using traditional flows. And there's
Right.
a lot of cats that are old that are using modern flows and back and forth. Look at Nas. Nas is damn near 50 years old. And he's spitting, not only using a traditional flow, his own flow, and the
Right.
modern flow all together on modern beats, old beats, future beats. So
Right.
what I love about it isn't so much like, oh, cool, old niggas can rap. No, it's like, it's more about like, oh, this is dope. We can get this age out the way, and it's just about flow. It's about
Yeah, yeah,
ability. It's about
yeah.
technique.
Yeah, because now that you think about it, when you said that some of them come back, Young Jeezy had been rapping for a while. You know what I'm saying? Who else I was gonna mention? Benny the Butcher, that's a part of Griselda. He had mentioned that he came out at a younger age. He just wasn't as good as he was now. Like Benny, I mean, it's impressive. I'm like, this man reinvented himself. He came out early on, wasn't great music, and then he eventually went on to get better. He's got these songs with Lil Wayne, Big Sean, all these dope artists, Ross, and I'm like, man.
Right, like Random Abomination. Shout out to them. That's a great point. Buster. Buster
Yeah,
Rhyme.
Buster,
Buster
yeah.
Rhyme.
And Coast Contra, yeah, True Cage and Coast Contra. Yeah, that's one of my new favorite rap groups. Yeah. Yeah, I
And,
listen to Coast Contra
and
too.
that's really my point is that we got to throw this age thing out the way.
Yeah,
It's not good. I'm gonna be honest. For me, the whole idea of age is not a culture thing. It's a corporate thing
yeah,
because the corporate world can sell to the youth easier than they can sell to a more mature person. At
right.
40, you know what I'm saying? By the time I hit 25, I started looking at Wayne different because I'm like, bro, how many times can you rap about pussy, weed, and alcohol? How many times, how many times am I gonna sit here and buy the same album that you keep telling me that you're gonna fuck my bitch? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna let my daughter listen to that. I'm not gonna let my
Yeah,
wife listen to that. So at some
yeah.
point, that can't be sold to me. It has to be sold to someone younger than me that doesn't care, right?
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
never age in itself has never been a hip hop thing. It's never
Okay.
ever been a hip hop thing. And to Random Abominations point,
Hmm.
um, Busta has been around since '87. Busta
Yep.
has been through Leaders of the New School, Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest,
Quest.
Native Tongue, like not like in those groups, but part of that, right? He's been part of the quintessential aspect of the golden age of hip hop. That song, Look at Me Now, is the for me one of the times when the modern flow gets taken over by the older, like, oh no, our veterans can show you motherfuckers that we can do this. Not only did he take the chopper style, the Bone Thugs and Harmony going super fast, but now he's jumping in between beats and jumping in pockets and jumping out of pockets. So you can't tell me that this is an age thing and oh, this is the new nigga shit. No, this is just an aspect of skill. So
Right.
if you can do the Bishop Nehru at 17,
Right.
or you can do the fucking Conway the Machine at 41, it
Right.
doesn't fucking matter. Just be dope.
Yeah, just be dope about it. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And since Elijah Zero said I need to evolve with the times for most at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, yeah, music's constantly evolving and your favorite artist is transforming. They're evolving as they go with their albums. Unless they choose to stay with, their version of rap. But I guess it all depends. So yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I think they're right. We do need to evolve with the
Yeah,
times. We
right,
do. My concern is the catalyst that creates the evolution. So the people and the music and the culture and the needs of the community or the climate of the times should be changing the elements of the music, right? It
right.
shouldn't be the corporate doctrine of, well, we need the music to grow because this is what the kids are listening to. Okay, if that's the case, well then all of a sudden hip hop needs to start sounding like fucking techno or K-pop in order to get the kids. Because you know what I'm saying? Which by the way, in the process of that, my grandchild is watching Story Time, and they're using Snoop Dogg and Rakim and Mos Def bringing traditional rap flows
Right.
to these youth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it's not about age. It's about removing the idea of age and just letting the talent shine,
Okay.
regardless of age.
Okay. So my next question, this is dealing with music again. What is one of your favorite genres outside of hip hop or two?
Ooh, cool. So, great question. Great question.
Yeah.
Um, actually, as corny and cliche as it sounds, I don't listen to hip hop um like during the day a lot.
Okay.
I might listen to it when I'm driving around.
Okay.
That's kind of when I catch up on new music that's out there.
Okay.
My personal preference when it comes to music is actually like 60s, 70s R&B,
Okay.
progressive rock.
Okay.
I like anything that has a soulful voice, that like James Brown kind of shit,
Okay.
Shine Down, Jelly Roll. Um, there's an artist that I just recently found, Jack Barrow, LaJawn Witherspoon. He's with Seven Dust, heavy, heavy rock and roll, but it's very soulful. So I like anything that's like that old school soul, Anthony Hamilton type of shit. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
And I like Anthony Hamilton. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
yeah, he's
My
got
my
some stuff.
my wife wouldn't believe this, but I'm actually a romantic at heart, so I like the old, like, shit that's gonna make me feel something.
Okay. Okay. That's what's up, man. So my next question, and this is interesting because I think I never asked you this. What are your top 10 or 15 music producers, man, when it comes to hip hop?
Ooh, shit. Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Um, I don't have any order. I'm just gonna go at this one.
Okay.
Ooh, man. So who do I start with? Who do I start with? So Pimp C, probably number
Okay.
one. Eric Sermon is gonna come out.
Good choice.
Um,
Yeah.
um, Ninth Wonder is a dope producer.
Ooh.
The RZA is a dope producer.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I fuck with Jay Dilla, but I actually like Muggs,
Okay.
DJ Muggs a little bit more.
Yeah, I know you're
I'm
talking
not
about
gonna
DJ Muzz.
They're
Yeah.
not in the same vein, but I fuck with that sound.
Yeah.
Um, Madlib is cool.
Yeah,
Um,
man, Lib. Yeah, he's got some stuff.
I like, what is it? The Beat Miners.
B
I like
minors.
I
Okay.
like this shit. Rock Wilder, and I actually think he's part of the Beat
Ooh.
Miners, but the stuff that he does directly, there's a guy, Chucky, who did a lot of beats in, rap and R&B in, like, the late '90s, early 2000s. Um, Teddy Riley,
Good one.
um,
That's a good one.
um,
Yeah.
oh god, I wanna say Kanye. I like Kanye, but I actually like Pharrell more than Kanye.
Okay. Okay.
He has a little bit more fun
Yeah, for real
with,
does. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit, it's like if I could find somebody that's right there in between Pharrell and Kanye, it'd be, like, perfect because you get that soulful, fun bounce.
Right.
Um, let's see. There's this guy, I don't okay, I'm gonna fuck the name up. So, I found this artist several years ago. His name's Nacho Picasso. He's out of Seattle.
Okay.
His producer is a guy, I believe it's called Blue Sky Black Death,
Wow.
or Black Sky Blue Death. Somewhere I'm fucking it up. But
Okay.
he has these crazy bass heavy, expansive ass soundscape type beats that are just like, oh, you can't go wrong.
Okay.
Um, I love that stuff. Um, who's somebody else? Rico Wade from
Okay.
Dungeon Family.
Okay.
I like, crazy enough, I like just about anything that Andre 3000 has produced, with the exception of the flute joint. I'm not a fan of
Okay.
that shit. Uh,
Okay.
let me put it this way. I like it for ambiance. It's great work music. Am I gonna sit there and jam that shit? Probably not. But
Okay.
I might try to freestyle to it. Let me see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Um, so if I go to my own personal taste,
Yeah.
um, I like my guy. I got a dude that actually is my producer, my lifelong producer.
Okay.
Um, Jay, Jay Smooth Syndicate.
Okay.
He's produced 3/4 of the beats that I've ever rapped on, and I love his process of production.
Okay.
There's a local guy named Infinity, or I call him Slaps by Infinity. I love his production style.
Okay.
Um, there's another local group called the Goonies. So the Goonies are crazy because they like, hey, shout out to Cajun, man. Appreciate
All
everybody
right.
tapping
Yeah.
in, man.
Appreciate it, Cage, for tuning in as long as you could, man. I appreciate it, man.
Especially because I'm so fucking long-winded, man. But the Goonies are crazy because they take samples and like reconstruct them into live instrumentation, and they give you that modern trap sound. So I
Wow.
like that. And then here's the last one. There's um fuck, who is that guy? Uh, I don't know the guy's name, but
Okay.
whoever did the beat for T.I.'s first album for trap music,
Okay.
um 24's on that whoever
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Bass
I think
heavy.
DJ Toon, right?
Yeah,
DJ.
I was thinking okay, DJ Toon. Yes.
Yeah, Toon. Oh man, yeah, DJ Toon. Yeah.
So yeah, those are my my producer extraordinaires that I really fuck with. And then oh my god, EA Ski,
Okay.
Rick Rock,
Okay.
um, bro, I'll be honest, anything from the Bay is
Woo.
slap to me. There's not a producer out of the Bay that really don't slap to me. So, you know what I
Okay.
mean? That's my sound. Those are my producers for sure.
Okay. Dang, that's it. Yeah, interesting list, man. Some known, some not well known, but that's dope, man. So my next question, have you ever thought about monetizing your IG, man, or is
I,
not really a thing that you thought about?
no, I have. I have.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest, I just don't know how. I got to because I don't understand Facebook and all of the connections back to Meta or all that stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't really learned the admin or the logistics of how that's supposed to work. But you know, that's my goal
that's the goal.
is to get to the point where and so I'm gonna be honest. So let me be fully transparent. A lot
Okay.
of ways, one of my balances when it comes to family and the hustle is I don't spread myself across a lot of social medias. And
Okay.
one of the things that I've I don't know if it's been a good or a bad, but I've hey, I see Chateau in the building, man. Shout
Thanks,
out to my
shout out for
commission,
tuning
bro.
in again. Yeah.
One of the things that I've done, good or bad, is like just kind of blind myself from any other social media but IG. And it's something that I need to unlearn so that I can
Okay.
like properly monetize all the different avenues that are available to me. You know what I'm saying? So like
Right.
I don't work YouTube as much as I should because I've always just IG is what I'm comfortable with, and I don't work Facebook because IG is what I'm comfortable with, and because I've always like purposely just not touched those things. But in the process, there's like you know lines of connections and revenue that I haven't put together because I've just avoided that. So in some ways, I do need to, and yes, I do plan to monetize. It's just okay, how? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is a good way to look at it. I only know maybe one person that I met through like a former friend of mine's. It's a young lady. She's like a rapper from here, and
Okay.
she does other stuff too. That monetized. Like she actually has the blue check and everything. And I was like, wow, like you're the first person from my state that I actually kind of know through online through IG that actually has a actual blue check. You know what I'm saying?
So, and
But
can you
mhm.
even get blue checks anymore outside of purchasing them now? So I know you can
uh,
like
That's a good question. I think she worked for hers, I believe. I think she just, like I said, put out her music, some other
see.
business ventures she had and stuff. And I guess she went with, I don't know if she went with the music direction. I never asked her. She might have went with the music direction, or she might have went with, maybe selling her merchandise because she does have, I think, hats, hoodies, clothing. So
See,
you
I love
probably
it.
could do that, Bump, if
Well, I mean, that's the goal in a sense is to monetize, whether it be a
yeah.
check from them or a check from y'all. You know what I'm saying? Revenuing and doing that, or consultation or whatever. But something else that is important to me, whether it be monetization or not,
Hmm.
is independence and ownership. And
Okay.
so um like if I use the commission as an example, I want that platform to be built up into something that's substantial and can create revenue and ownership for all the members of the commission. Something that's important to me, if I use that as an example or use Bump Jonas as an example, right
Right.
now all of that content, all of that influence, all of that effort and work and community that's built up in a lot of ways is owned by those platforms, right?
Yeah.
So whether it be YouTube, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, um, ultimately my success is measured by how much they're willing to push or to allow my platform, right? Or my usage of their platform. And if if Instagram went away, how am I still reaching people? How am I if I'm monetized off of Instagram
Right.
and I'm no longer on Instagram, or I can't speak my mind and I lose my monetization? What does that say about my content? What does that say about my overall plan for longevity? So it's important for me to, as much as I build this up and as much as I want to monetize, I still have to be thoughtful to the idea that I need to have my own platform, because I don't want somebody to be able to tell me what I can and can't say. There's no way that if I want to talk about whatever's going on in the Middle East,
Right.
you should not be able to ding my money, because I've built my fan base, and the money or revenue income that's coming in is from people that support me. So
Okay.
let me put it this way: I'm a hustler. My wife is a hustler. We immediately think, let me get the middleman out the way.
Okay.
So when it comes to the social media thing, the middleman is the platforms that I'm on. So how do I create my own situation that I don't need to be tied to any platform and still enjoy all of the fruits of my efforts?
Mm, that's good. That's a good question. I think maybe Bump, you should try to make a website, man. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but that may be the if you want the middleman out, you might have to go and create your own website. I mean, I get it's a process behind it. You have to learn certain things in order to build a website. I know Goddess with the Pen has her own website. She actually does.
Oh
I
shit.
know I know a couple people that have websites, and I'm like, yeah, it's dope if you want to go that direction. I guess it's just all about learning the different things to put together on a website, the display, how you're going to present your content and all that stuff. I mean, it sounds like a great idea. I don't see anything wrong with it.
And that's where I get lost, is that because I live in the chaos, I can get lost in the chaos, and all of a sudden it's just like this mess. And I don't want that, because I've already had that with EMTs, where
Right.
and I'm still, in that sense of trying to find the voice of that. And so, that's the beauty of the commission. Like, it's giving me an opportunity to find the voice and also learn the path, and then I can replicate that back to all the other things that I want to do.
Yeah. So yeah, probably just when you get a chance, like I said, probably just if you know people that's into like technology, hey man, I would just say reach out to them and see basically like what they can help you with, maybe creating a website. But wow. Yeah, random abomination, you have to get over 1 million to get a check. Is that on Instagram? Is that the case for Instagram? 1 million? Woo. Wow, man,
Wow.
that's crazy.
All right, let's
If
go. Million coming. It's easy. There's no big deal. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think with Instagram it depends because I've heard you can get it with 1,000 too. I think it's kind of set up like YouTube in a way. You can do sponsorships, you know what I'm saying, promote items, all
Mhm.
that stuff. It's like a tier. So you got
Yes.
a tier where some people make it off their super chats, some people make it off their merchandising, some people you know what I'm saying, maybe courses and classes because I do see that on YouTube and maybe even IG as well. So yeah, I think it depends on the avenue that you're trying to go down. Like, yeah, maybe 1 million depending on the direction that you go in.
Mhm.
And Synthesizer says, as long as you can support yourself money wise, nothing wrong with eliminating the middleman. Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's the direction you want to go, I mean,
Well, and
hey,
and
why
that's
not?
that's what
You
it
know?
is that it's kinda like a turtle in the hare situation, where I know what I want, so I'm just kinda, plotting my way there, getting there, and that's ultimately the goal.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, that's why you see me on the YouTubes and doing lives, like, damn near twice a week, right?
yeah,
Because that's my platform, that's where I'm at, to sensationalize these things, like, um the more eyes on your content, the better. So I'm never going to turn down any eyes. If I have access to a platform and it's rocking, then yo, let's go. Just
yeah.
for me, it's always a thought in my head, like, all right, I'm here. I need to make sure that I can find a way to secure my bag so much that I can transfer them from here to here or vice versa, either which way. I need every angle of revenue to be able to flow as naturally as possible.
Yeah, and I heard now that you mentioned demonetizing too, that's a thing too. Because I remember my man Simuverse said he went through that demonetization. It's a real thing. Even my other person that I did an interview with as well. So Zap Crystal. So yeah, demonetization is a real thing. It's scary because the thing is sometimes people have to bounce back from it. What's going on, Goddess? And the bad thing about it is sometimes you have to start over because with SimUDverse, he literally had to start from scratch with YouTube. Like something
Mhm.
happened to his account where he wasn't able to get it back. And that man has been grinding on Twitter, like for real, for real. And I'm like, yo, bro, you like at 200 subs. Like literally, I think he's very close to either 200, either maybe past it now. And for you to start from scratch,
Mhm.
from when you had so many subscribers, you already monetized everything, it's scary because they can, like you said, Bump, they can like cut you short, like, oh, we don't like what you're saying, or we don't like what content you're putting out. They can cut you, and you may have to start completely over from scratch, or you may have a chance to re-monetize. So
And
yeah,
that's
it's definitely scary.
low key, that's what I struggle with now because I'm
Yeah.
outspoken. And so
Hmm.
I'm not really big on tapering down what I say. I might say it in a way so that, people might receive it better, but
Right.
I'm not really trying to change it because so and so wants me to change it or it pisses off the advertisers. Like that ain't my problem. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But I know that one of the things that for me is a struggle, especially with IG and maybe
Yeah.
even YouTube eventually, is man, I'm the hip Hokage. I smoke. And I don't care about people's distaste or dislike for smoke. And so I think sometimes my content, because it has me smoking or references smoke, or because I have um political content sometimes, right? That's like,
Yeah.
yo, why are we messing with this pipeline? Or why is this happening? Um, it just always seems that my content doesn't meet the guidelines. So it's like, all right, whatever, man, whatever.
Yeah, I know with YouTube, I experienced that once. I did a TV show review on a 50 Cent show. It was based on a true story years back, and YouTube just wouldn't let me upload it. Like, I mean, I was like amazed. I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's loading, and it never completely loaded. So I'm like, it wasn't a bad video. It just was exposing how people are innocent in jail for the wrong reason. That's what the TV show was about. And I was just like amazed because that was the first time I ever experienced it on YouTube. I was like, dang, like what's going on?
And it's like, why? Why? I'm not saying nothing wrong. I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm just talking about the TV show. I'm giving you a review on it, talking about the
yeah.
characters, saying, hey, it's based on a true story. This is a new 50 Cent produced show. And they made it seem like I was just like, hey, forget the legal. So it's like, no, I'm just telling you the problems with it for people that were innocent that were in jail, because this was this guy's life was. And he's pretty much telling you all the things he went through, him being a lawyer in jail, maybe because he was a black lawyer. But yeah, it shocked me. I was like, wow. Because the other thing I see with YouTube too, and I've seen this on Twitter recently, is where there's a white YouTuber, right?
Mhm.
You could do the same video as a white YouTuber, but not get the same views, not get the same likes. So it's like, and it was crazy because someone pointed it out. It's like, isn't that odd? I did the same type of video on this same type of gameplay, but look who's got more views, who's got more likes. And it's like,
Look who's getting
yo,
paid for it. How you
yeah,
getting paid for shit that I'm getting violated for? That's usually my question.
yeah, yeah,
And I had to eventually just stop looking at it and like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, cool, you're
yeah,
not gonna monetize me, no big deal, whatever, man. Like, I'm still here, I'm still rocking. And that's why when it comes to social media in a lot of ways, I want it out there. I want to be on social media for the sense of branding and marketing and um edutaining because to me at the end of the day it's about having these conversations, and as much as I want to entertain people and make them laugh, I do want them to learn something or walk away with something.
Okay.
But at the other end of things, it's like, yo, I'm not gonna change how I approach it. You know what I mean? It's important for me to be myself because then it's smoke and mirrors, and I'm not here for, you know, the bullshit. But what's more important is, I think I had said before, if the internet goes away, how does this work for me? So it doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm on YouTube, if I'm on my own website, if I'm on IG, this is all great and important and beautiful, but at some point I need to translate this to the physical. So,
Okay.
that's where the merch comes in. That's where doing the
Yeah.
shows comes in. That's where just being in the public on a physical form in some way, doing pop-ups. That's all important to me because I could do a live every day for 5 days a week,
Correct.
but that doesn't necessarily mean anything if no one is if no one's buying anything, if no one's engaging in anything, if no one is turning around and having that conversation, if no
Yeah.
one wants to like, oh my God, he's gonna be at this thing doing this show or hosting this, and they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's the guy I watch on the internet. That doesn't do me anything. So
Right.
that is just as important to me as monetizing the social media aspect of things.
Okay. Definitely interesting. For sure, yeah. When you think about it, yeah, because you got to have the physical aspect included in as well. Yeah, that's wow. So my next question for you, I see you back, or you're back doing hip hop. Are we gonna get like a EP or what I'm saying, or an album? I mean,
Oh man, the answer is probably no.
no.
And
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna be not like y'all think. Like, I'm not an active artist. I'm not an active MC. I'm never gonna be because,
Okay.
um, the way the universe works. If that was the life for me, it would happen
Okay.
in the way it's supposed to, right? And
Okay.
um, the way it's happening right now is more like I've always made music. I just never
Okay.
put it out there. I have a SoundCloud. I never stopped making music, but I've never pushed the dreams of being like an artist that was in the limelight. And at this point, what's important to me is more to, you know, to make money and
Okay.
to survive or to thrive
Okay.
off of my passions. And hip hop is one of my passions. So um, it's more important. I do music at this point simply so that I can still be able to speak intelligently and, you know, just show the artists, whether they're young or old, that I still have that creative skin in the game.
Okay.
It's not some, oh, this guy's an old rapper trying to be cool. It's like, nah, man, I'm not going to sit here and
Yeah.
ask you a technical question about what you do and not be able to understand it myself. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's what it is for me. The other thing is I just because I'm a creative person and I just always have to have something to say. Um, I think usually like once a year I put out a song around my birthday or the holidays. And
Okay.
what I've been doing though is because I've been so busy, I haven't been able to like really be good at getting that out.
Okay.
Um, so I'll put out like a Lucy somewhere at the start of the year, middle of the year, and then I will usually have like a collection of 3 or 4 joints that I like that I'll put out. Um, what will probably happen in 24 if it works
Mhm.
out is I have a project of sorts. It's not like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be pushed and promoted," and it'll just go to SoundCloud.
Okay.
It's nothing crazy. Um, I'm gonna probably have a collection of maybe 10 or so beats that I've collected from local artists,
Okay.
and the key is that it's all people that I've worked with in some kinda way. It's not like, "Oh my god, I love your beats." It's more like, "Yo, we rock together, so let me have some of your shit." Um, Whether I buy it or we trade, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I get it. And
Hey,
so
SL Rain.
hey, appreciate you joining. So it's just going to be a collection of music that I've gotten from people that I've worked with, verses that I like, and features from people that again I've worked with. Like it's not like, oh my god, I need to have you on the song. It's more like, yo, we rock together. I like how you do this. Let's see how this goes. And it's going to be called Everyone Moves Together.
So like
It-
a time capsule music, like how Tory Lanez was doing.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's cool. I mean, even if you don't do a debut album, if you do a time capsule of like songs that came out and the people that you worked with, that could work. I mean, I'm sure people will be interested in hearing that. So you would just be more when it comes to hip hop, maybe just executive producing or mentoring somebody, maybe so.
yeah, like when it comes to hip hop, my goal is not to be an artist. Obviously, I want to let motherfuckers know I got bars, but those that know
Yeah.
me know. If you know, you already know, so that's not a big deal.
Right.
Um, it's more important to me right now for this thing of ours when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to the world structure in general, to not be part of the corporate setup and to
Okay.
change the narrative in a way of how it's perceived and how it's handled. So it's not it's not impactful for me to be an artist. It's more impactful for me to be, um, you know, a consultant or an executive producer or a music reviewer or a hip hop journalist. It's more impactful for me to be working through the commission and working through Sprinkles and Salt to have those conversations and to change that narrative as opposed to putting myself right back in the midst of competition with other artists. That doesn't work. I mean, that's shooting myself in the foot. It's not necessary.
Okay. Interesting. So, what are some of your big goals for 2024, man?
Man, ooh, 2024. Um, you know what? The biggest goal that I have for 2024 for myself is
Hmm.
to just own my shit a little bit more, man. Step into the fact that I am Bump Jonas. I have these companies and I do a lot of damn things and I do it well. I always kind of have this insecurity of, am I doing this good enough? Do I belong here? And the fact of the matter is that, yeah, I belong here because I earned my place here. I walked here. Nobody gave me a map. A lot of people opened doors for me. A lot of people gave me opportunities, but
Right.
nobody nobody laced up my shoes. Nobody stepped into these shoes that I wear, and so I have to own that a little bit more, a lot more in
Okay.
24. A direct goal is to just improve the branding and the
Okay.
positioning
Yeah.
of all of my businesses, whether it be especially Thrax Pastry. I want that to be more branded and well known throughout the city. It's getting there. My wife is doing a beautiful, wonderful job with herself and my daughter, and then I'm doing my thing as well. But I think
Right.
there's ways that we can just establish it as a more talk of the town kind of thing. Um,
Right.
Sprinkle some salt. I want that to honestly, my goal for Sprinkle Some Salt in 24 is to get paid. I'm doing it well. People like what we do. They like how I do it.
Yeah.
So I want to introduce a price list and a tier system so that there's ways and options for me to create more revenue out of that and still, um, like contribute to my city in a way that I've been doing. Um, the when it comes to the commission, my goal is just to really keep pushing at what we're doing, keep organizing and formulating our path. Just keep empowering everyone within the commission to let their unique voice shine, but also make sure that we're consistent and organized in how we're putting ourselves out there. When it comes to everyone moves together, the goal there is just to get better at branding and being comfortable with how it's presented. Own my own creativity in that sense. Like I don't need to be EMTs doesn't need to be like any other brand than the brand that it is, and have that message, say what it's got to say, and do what it's got to do. So, I mean, overall, my biggest goal in 24 is to just get better at working on the daily things for my brands, but also just be more intent on acknowledging like you got this. You've been here. It's not like you don't have to ask nobody like, "Yo, am I a content creator?" Nah, bro. You're a content creator. Just go fucking do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one question I forgot to ask you, and this might be the last one, if I got another one, but what are some of your like influences when it comes to podcasts, like $1 million worth of game, or what
Oh
are
man.
Breakfast Club or Joe Budden? Were there any influences when it came to that?
So, in all honesty, my podcast influencers are none.
Okay.
Comedians and The Daily Show are my influence when it comes to podcasts. But if I were to give some that are like, oh man, I like what they do. Everyday Struggle with Joe Budden and Academics and
Yeah, yeah,
uh, Nadeska. They were a really big influence in the sense of like, I could do this. I could talk my shit. Um, Joe Rogan, sadly, I don't even watch his show. I don't really like him, but I like the fact that he
yeah,
talks his shit. Um, I definitely appreciate Joe Budden for how he has been able to just pivot from everything. So I think
yeah.
that I like that. But otherwise, like there aren't that many podcasts that like are, I don't want to say impressive to me. I'm not gonna say it like that. I just, the podcast genre isn't the reason why I got into podcasting. So
Okay,
they don't attract me in that realm of things. I listen to them, I like them, but I don't really pull anything from them. The
okay.
Daily Show, Trevor Noah,
Yeah,
Dick
Trevor Noah.
Gregory,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
He's got some stuff.
John Oliver,
Okay,
their approach to comedy and entertainment and news is how I approach podcasting.
okay, okay. Definitely interesting. I was surprised. I'm like, man, like, wow, okay, no. Then them, I get it though, because you don't want to get to a point where you're influenced by them, but then you taking their style completely. Like, hey,
Well,
I
and it
love
just,
Trevor.
there wasn't any podcast that drew me in ever because
Okay,
the podcast world exploded and came out of nowhere in a lot of ways, but
yeah,
um it wasn't the podcast world or the personalities in that world that made me want to start a podcast. It was, having the voice to say things and having the urge and need to say things that put me in that position of like, now I'm gonna start a podcast. It was more radio personalities. Johnny Dare here locally in KC.
okay,
Um, growing up watching WKRP in Cincinnati, right? Like seeing that whole um radio aspect on TV, or
right.
just growing up around radio, that is the podcast world to me.
Okay, definitely interesting. So, my next question, this is interesting because I'm like, man, I've never seen this, but maybe he might do this eventually. Will you ever interview comedians, poets, political figures? Has that been something that you've been wanting to do as well with your sprinkle some salt?
Absolutely. I've actually interviewed comedians on Sprinkle Some Salt. I've actually interviewed a couple poets. I
Oh,
interview, when it comes to Sprinkle Some Salt and Conversation from the Cardiac, I interview creatives of all type. They don't have to just do music.
okay,
Um, so like the new Mecca is the showcase that I put on, and I was able, the very first show I was able to have a spoken word artist, a rap artist, a band, and a comedian do the
oh,
show.
okay, okay,
But yeah, to your point, yes, I want to. I want to interview anybody and everybody that has a unique, different perspective and could be impactful. Um, so far, the biggest catch has been making it make sense. So, Sprinkle Some Salt itself is a podcast,
right,
um, but then I have the segments, right? And so, Conversations from the Cardiac is really Midwest, and so
yeah,
I really want to highlight the Midwest.
yeah, you really
Um,
do, yeah, yeah,
I have Lab Legends, and that's really more about artists that are coming up in KC or in the Midwest.
right,
I have the commission where I do blunt talk, and we have the Who Dat segment
right,
where I interview people, but that's really about hip hop. So it just comes about where, okay, I have this guy that I think is dope in Dubai. What's the angle to interview him, and how do I make that make sense? That's where it comes down to for me. But yeah,
yeah.
I want to interview anybody. I love it.
Yeah, that's the thing with me too, Bump. Like I've had situations, I'm like, well, how can I make this interesting? Also, when would this person have time? Because some of the people I collaborate with here in other states, they're not in the exact state I live in. So I'm like, how could I make it work where we are both able to do something? Because there was a time where I wanted to work with this big content creator from California, but the problem was it was miscommunication. This person didn't want to bend. Like, remember when me and you do collaboration? Sometimes we have to reschedule because you got
Right.
a lot going on. I got things going on. and the person wasn't flexible, so like it didn't work out. And then also had a bit of an ego, so I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna work.
Yeah, that I don't ego is the thing that I struggle with.
Yeah,
My family will tell you probably that, I got a big head, but at the same time that I struggle with not having a big head either. Like a lot of times I don't speak up on what I do or how I do things, but I think
right.
when you're collaborating, that's the first thing that's got to go out the door is the ego. Like, come on, man, we're just trying to get shit done. I don't care. Come on, man. Because and I say this a lot, man. And actually, I gotta wrap soon. I gotta get to an interview. Um,
Okay,
but um, at the end of the day, so first of all, we live in a capitalistic system,
right.
and you can thrive in a lot of different ways. But if you don't get money, which is the current resource, you're not really thriving. You're just surviving, right?
Yeah,
Um, so it doesn't matter if I'm the brightest person in the room or the dumbest person in the room, if I'm the only person in the room or the 100th person in the room. If there's no money being made, what the fuck are we doing? That's in the current system that we live in, a capitalistic system.
yeah,
Outside of that, if we're just sitting here talking to talk shit and you can't ever get your ego out of the situation, then am I just listening to you brag about you and you listen to me brag about me? Where are we going? If we're
right.
trying to accomplish something,
Yeah,
we're trying to get something done, somebody's got to throw their fucking ego out the window. Why not both of us? You
yeah.
grab the
That's
front,
true.
I grab the back. We hammer this shit down, and now we built the table we can sit and talk at. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Definitely, man. So y'all heard it here, man. This is it, y'all. But I definitely want to say thanks to Bump for being one of the first older content creators that took me in, and we collaborated frequently on IG, also on YouTube as well. And it meant a lot to me, man. Like you being from the Midwest, I'm from the Midwest. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like, even though you're not from the same state that I'm in, you took the opportunity to say, hey, let's do something together. We built on working a relationship and collaborating, and it's been growing, man, ever since. Like, I remember when we did our first couple collaborations and people like, yo, where's Bump at? And all this stuff. I'm like, okay, he's coming back. Like, just give us some time. Because people love seeing your face and just you talking about stuff and hip hop. And I was like, man, this is great, man. You know what I'm saying? So we built on that. And I mean, I've been finding some of the coolest people on IG. Guys with the Pen is another person. Shouts out to her. I mean, I'm like, damn, I was like, is IG the place to go find people that are super cool? Not to say that Twitter doesn't have it either. There are some dope people on Twitter too. Cajun is one of the people I met on Twitter. But yeah, so this has been great, bro. And I mean, thank you again, bro. Like, this is amazing, man. It's good to see you doing other ventures as well and stuff like that. And man, we gotta do this again next year.
Hey man, please, please, and thank you. I want to say though, shout out to you, especially like I said earlier, like I
Yeah.
didn't understand what I was capable of doing until you said, "Hey, Bump, you want to do this?" And it's like, wait, oh no, dude, I'm good. People like me. No, but shout out to you for the not only just this interview, but also for taking a chance with me,
Yeah.
for giving me the opportunity to have a voice, and for introducing me to people like Cajun, people like Master Swords,
Yeah.
the Lewis sisters. Like the way
Yeah.
that you create community and conversation is what we need. And I'm
Right.
very very appreciative of how you do it, man. And what's really really important to me about you is that well, one, I learned that the Midwest is bigger than just Missouri. That was dope. I didn't know that. Uh, and two, you being who you are allows me to feel more comfortable in my blurred skin. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Like that's a
Okay.
real thing to able to be the nerdy weirdo and still be a black guy. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
thank you so much for how you do it and the way you do it and the why. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you guys, Bump, did you want to throw out some of your websites or anything out
Yeah.
there? Or?
Oh man, thank you so much. Yeah. So we talked about the different companies, right? So first of all, sprinkle some salt dot podcast. Sprinkle spelled just like it is, sprinkle, and then some is SUM. Salt.podcast. That's the IG. It's a podcast, got multiple different segments, a lot of different things going in. Tap in and rock with us. We are on YouTube as well. Merch available. I got merch for everything. I do merch. It's all about the hustle. Um, my biggest one, the love of my life, is my family business with my wife, Thrax Pastry. It's thrax.pastryog, THRAXX dot pastry, PASTRYOG. I don't want to get in trouble. Nothing for sale. Everything is just a suggestion of where you can spend your time, but tap into the page, get with the Canna Chemist. She can definitely make your dreams come true. I have Everyone Moves Together. It's an apparel company. EMTZ, or everyone.moves.together on Instagram. Basically, like this the sweatshirt here, I
Okay.
remixed it. I put it like someone else. I got this from someone, and then after I wore it a few times, I did a flip on it. So I do remixes, aka tie
Okay.
dye. I have original designs, a whole cast of characters. So definitely tap in with that, or you can go to the website. All you got to do is really type it once, and you'll always have it remembered if you put in your favorites.
Excuse me.
Everyonemovestogether.com is that simple. And then other than that, man, hiphop.commission.worldwide. That's my that's my like my passion project. That's my family. That's my brothers. Back to the Lab, Dame, Chateau Carter Originals, Ill Blurred, Aztec, whole bunch of folks, man. Shout out to D Flippin', the commission, man. We talk hip hop. We're here to reframe the whole concept of this thing of ours, and we're here to take control back so that you people that love hip hop can actually get back what you've been given to it in a real way. So yeah, man, rock with me, fuck with me. I'm the wizard. I make things wiggle. I make shit happen. Peace,
All
man.
right. Thanks again, man. And thanks for everyone that tuned in and are catching the replay as well. Thank you so much. And so next time, guys, I don't have anybody for episode 6 yet. Let me just throw that out there too for the content creator seat. But that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm out. Oh boy.